Welcome in to Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, SiriusXM, Channel 375, and all of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck, along with Adam Abdalla, broadcasting live from downtown Chicago. We are on the air until 3 Eastern. If you want to join the show today, you can call or text us at 310-840-4910. The Michigan Wolverines win the NCAA National Championship. They beat UConn last night 69-63. Michigan was the best team throughout the entire tournament, and they showed last night why they're the champs.
If I would have come in today, Chris, and you had not seen the game, and I would have just said 69-63, one team is only going to score 2 3-pointers the entire game.
Yeah.
One team is only going to shoot 38% from the field. You would have been like, congratulations to the UConn Huskies and Dan Hurley. But no, this Michigan team who had 12 wins throughout the regular season of 30 points or more, who going into this national championship game had scored 90 points in every single tournament game, blowing teams out by double digits. And we were talking about going into this game that if it were going to be a low-scoring game, advantage UConn. Advantage Dan Hurley and the Huskies. But no, Michigan proved this is why they're the best team in the country, because it doesn't matter what kind of a game that they're in. They can score 95 if they need to. They can score 69 and win if they need to. They can get into a physical rock fight style of a game with one of their starters injured and still playing through an injury, only making 2 threes the entire game, having a poor shooting night, whatever it is. Michigan found a way and proved why they deserve this and why they're the best team in the country.
Yeah, my takeaway with Michigan basketball this year is that, you know, obviously they set that record of scoring in 5 straight games, 90-plus points in the tournament. So they can score the basketball. But my lasting image was kind of the suffocating defense, and that any time you saw someone go to the rim, you saw multiple bigs come over and try and block a shot. And that's what we saw last night is the defense showing up for Michigan. 6 blocks for the Wolverines last night. You have Johnson Jr., Gale Jr., both with 2 blocks each. And it felt like any time UConn had a chance to kind of make a run or string a couple buckets together or here you go, you have an open chance at a layup, it felt like Michigan was there to clean up the glass, to block a shot, to defer as a UConn player was going to the rim. And that, to me, is going to be the lasting image because, like, when we look at the collection of players, the transfer players who come in, who go together for a year to win a championship, like, it works. And maybe the lasting image will not be that this is one of the greatest teams of college basketball history, even though the stats would suggest that's what they have. Is we just saw an all-time great tournament run. And I think because of the transfer portal and because you may only have 1 or 2 guys make the league from this collection of players who won a title last night, I think that's going to be the long-term lasting image of this team is great defense. They could score the basketball, and they blew out everyone. And Connecticut tried to hang tough. But when it got to the end of the game last night, they really couldn't do enough to win.
No, and you're right about the NBA thing. I mean, looking at a mock draft here, Lendenborg's the highest guy I see drafted here, and he's mocked like 13th, outside the top 10. So you don't have a top 10 NBA player on this roster for Michigan, but it didn't matter because you've got guys like Cadeau and you've got Lendenborg and guys just playing well in clutch moments. Like there was a point in the game early in the game where only 2 players from Michigan had all of their points deep into the first half of that game, like about halfway through the first half of that game. So they were trying to find ways, and the pace was slowed down the way UConn wanted it to be, but either team couldn't make a shot. It was some ugly basketball for the first half and the start of the second half of that game. And then you can talk about the foul discrepancy between Michigan and UConn, but then I can also look at and say UConn made 7 threes last night. Like, this is a team that is coming off of a historic performance for them in making 3-point shots. And they were making shots late in the game it just wasn't enough. And if one guy is not going to come, if one guy is going to complain about officiating, it's going to be Dan Hurley.
Yeah.
And even after the game, he was like, no, it's not.
They were the better team.
It's a physical game.
Michigan was the better team.
Absolutely. And that's and at least one UConn head coach took the higher ground in losing a game. So, which is surprising.
It is surprising
that it was Dan Hurley and not Gino Auriemma.
Yeah.
But when Michigan started to pull away in the second half of that game, that's when you're like, okay, this is the Michigan we saw against Arizona. This is the Michigan that we saw throughout the tournament. And to UConn's credit, they started to mount a little bit of a comeback and made the game tight a little bit at the end. But with about a minute and a half left, Michigan started making more shots, and it was a three-pointer that put them ahead, and that was kind of it. And then you do the fouling back and forth at the end, and Michigan is a well-deserving the best team in the tournament won the national championship game.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. This is what the final call sounded like last night on Westwood One Sports.
2 seconds with one. He throws it to half court. And since 1989, there's been a blank space in the Michigan trophy case. Will write their name. Michigan, the 2026 men's basketball national champions. They knock off UConn 69-63 to win the school's second men's basketball championship.
Kevin Kugler on the call, Westwood One Sports. You can listen to all of the tournament right here on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. And shout out to all of the hard work of everyone here at this company putting together the broadcast of the Final Four, the championship game. Listening to the game last night was fantastic. And Abdalla mentioned the physical aspect of the game, and Dan Hurley took the high road. He did not complain about it. This is Dusty May post-game talking about how the game got physical in the second half.
Early in the second half, the game got a little bit chippy and physical, and so we thought this is going to be a game we just have to figure it out. We started going offensive, defensive early, offensive, defensive substitutions early, and UConn was dominating us on the glass. Credit to them. They were as motivated and determined as any team we played on the offensive glass, but we did feel like we were defending well enough that we were going to be able to find enough baskets.
So that was Dusty May, post-game champion. Michigan beats UConn last night. You know, Abdalla, like that's where one of the things, you know, I mentioned to you, like the lasting image of the Michigan Wolverines winning this title is like, based on the statistics, you could argue one of the best title runs we've ever seen. Mm-hmm. One of the best college basketball teams we've ever seen. But because of Lindenborg just not being necessarily a top 5 pick in the NBA draft, I feel like when you compare it to some of the great all-time teams in college basketball history, that's the one piece that kind of sticks out when you go through some of the teams. Like the short list, the UConn Huskies in 1999, they had Rip Hamilton leading that team. That team went 34-2. They won the national title. They won the Big East. They won the Big East tournament. So like that team for the first championship for UConn, they had Rip Hamilton, NBA star, right? Like he turned out to be a great player. If you compare to other teams, the 2001 Duke Blue Devils, they went 35-4. They won the national title. They won the ACC. They also won the ACC tournament. That team, Jay Williams, Shane Battier, Mike Dunleavy Jr., right? Like loaded with NBA talent.
Yeah.
How about the 2012 Kentucky Wildcats? They went 38-2. They won the national title. They won the SEC. They were led by Anthony Davis, right? Like phenom player who was the Wooden Award winner as a freshman, Anthony Davis, leading college basketball in blocks and also being a player that was just devastating on the offensive side. So when we look at some of the all-time great teams and you pluck out that one specific run, usually it is led by a phenom who is able to get the team to that spot, who then goes on to greatness in the NBA. And sure, to Michigan fans around the country and the great state of Michigan today, we don't know the answer to that. Maybe we look back and Lindenborg becomes a 10-time All-Star and someone who has great success in the NBA, and we look back and we go, remember that team that he was on for one season at Michigan that won the title?
Yeah.
Like that. But when you compare to the other greats in college basketball, I think that's where this era of transfer portal and where college basketball is at right now, it's tough to compare it to past.
I think it is too because of that very reason. You know, when we discuss Indiana winning in football and the turnaround, you know, that Kurt Signetti had with Indiana. Now, this is not as dramatic as that. Michigan is obviously a school that they're not as made fun of as Indiana is in football. Michigan, they've won a championship 37 years ago. They had the Fab Five. Like, this is a team.
It's deserved.
Of course.
Indiana football was the second losingest program in college football history.
It was absolutely. But Dusty May comes in and does the same thing in 2 years because of the transfer portal, because of NIL, because Michigan has a gigantic NIL fund. He came in and flipped this program, and in 2 years won a national championship. And they're the second odds-on favorite to win, behind Duke, of course, to win it all again next year. And it doesn't mean that they're going to. Like, all these guys weren't on the team last year. They're starters. These are all transfer portal guys. So, I mean, and none of them are probably going to be on the team next year. So it's something that we talk about in the college basketball landscape now, is that this is what you have to do. And when we talk about coaches either coming from the NBA or coming back to coaching, like we have been with Billy Donovan and the UNC job, is, are you equipped to do this?
Right.
Are you equipped to go through? And now Dusty May's got to recruit an entirely new squad. Now, having a national championship banner makes it a lot easier. Having a ton of NIL money makes it a lot easier. But in just 2 years, just like Indiana, he came in, completely flipped the program around, and now they're national champions. And going back to how dominant they were and how they won last night, I saw this stat last night. In the NCAA tournament, teams are 1-50 all time, scoring under 70 points, shooting under 40% from the field, getting out-rebounded, and shooting under 15% from three.
Yeah.
That won Michigan last night. So they were basically, if you go by that, somewhat outplayed and still won the game. You heard Dusty May just say it. They were out-rebounded, and they still found a way to win the game. That's just how good this Michigan team is. They can morph into whatever kind of game their opponent is bringing to them. Score 90, sure. Score 70 and win in a rock fight, sure. That's just how good Dusty May is as a coach, and getting these guys ready for last night's game.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, the great equalizer is the stat that you did not mention there, because, true, they shot 38% from the field. They shot 13% from three. The Wolverines last night, 2 for 15 from deep. They were out rebounded 46-39. The great equalizer, though, is the foul line. Because Michigan is more physical and they are able to take contact and get to the basket and get to the foul line, they shot 25 of 28 from the free throw line. That's the game. That's the game right there. That's the difference, because Connecticut only got to the foul line 16 times. They converted 12. So they made 12 free throws compared to 25. That's the difference in the basketball game right there. And Elliot Cadeau, he got to the foul line 9 times and made 8. So that right, you know, and to your point, right, like, you're able to figure out a way to win, even though the statistics show that Connecticut should have been the team that won this game. They kept it low scoring. They made more three-pointers. They made 9 three-pointers last night. They out-rebounded Michigan. They played the game they had to play last night to keep this close to try and win it. They just didn't get threes to fall late. You know,
that was it. Yeah.
If Mullins hit a couple threes at the very end, you have like a 4-point ball game, a 3-point ball game, and then you start doing the fouling and going back and forth, and you actually have a chance. But essentially, they couldn't get that last one to fall to make it a one-possession game. Michigan did a great job of having it be either a 2 or 3 possession game down the stretch run. So, you know, the foul line, that, to me, that's the difference in last night's game. It was the blocks at the rim for Michigan and also hitting their free throws.
Yeah, you got to make your free throws. I do think that it kind of does balance out a little bit when you talk about the 3-point shooting from UConn. Like, UConn's 3-point shooting kept them in that game. They were tied close to the end of the first half with about 3 minutes left in the first half at 25, and then that's when it separated. After the first half, Michigan never looked back. It got close. I will bring up the stat now that that, Dan Hurley is 12-0 against the spread from the Sweet 16 on. He did cover again last night. So if you're listening to us yesterday with Josh Graham and he said he liked UConn he liked Michigan in a close game, it was Michigan in a close game. Great teams cover. Shout out to Dan Hurley for once again covering in a close game in the Sweet 16 and on. He's now 12-0 against the spread, which is crazy to think about in the Sweet 16 and on. But I think that when you have, obviously the free throws matter late in the game when you're trying to put away the game and it gets into that back and forth. But I think that every time that Michigan got to the line, UConn would respond with a three, and then they would get to the line, and then UConn would respond with a three. So it kind of evened out until late in the game when UConn couldn't hit a three, and Michigan was getting to the line repeatedly.
Did you stay up for the late night activities post game? Did you,
what happened?
Well, everyone's favorite item after the game. You got to stick around.
Run out into the streets of Ann Arbor and go to Zingerman's and celebrate and all that kind of stuff?
Hell, if you're in Ann Arbor and that's what you did, then that's awesome. That's great.
That's a good sandwich.
No, at home, the late night enjoyment.
Oh, no.
Ernie Johnson and Kenny the Jet and Clark Kellogg and Barkley. You got to get Barkley's thoughts on the tournament because he's really breaking it down.
Yeah.
But did you stick around for one shining moment? Did you? I know it's such a special item in sports. Did you stick around?
My channel was changed before that first piece of confetti hit the floor. Before they even 3, 2, 1. Before I didn't even. If you would have told
final call is going off and Abdalla is already flipping.
If you would have told me that Dan Hurley walked off the court and didn't shake hands, I would have believed you.
Yeah.
Because I did not see it. I went to something else because I saw the game. I don't need. What do I need to see? I need to watch one shining moment.
Do people really stick around for that?
Some people do.
To sit through the inside conversation about the game. The half the players on the set didn't even watch. Are people sitting through that?
History buffs, I think, do.
Are they? History buffs are waiting for one shining moment.
History buffs are like, what happened last weekend?
Like
what happened 2 weeks ago? I forgot. How did we get here? What were the moments that shined the brightest?
I have to raise my hand, though, and be truthful with the audience. I saw one shining moment last night. I saw it.
Why?
It was because I was too late to pull the trigger on the remote.
Couldn't find the remote.
I couldn't find the remote. It fell between the cushions of the couch.
Turn it off.
I couldn't find it fast enough.
Turn it off.
But honestly, it scared me almost because Ernie's there just pontificating and Kenny the Jet, and then you have Barkley, America's Guest is there giving his thoughts on the game. Even though he doesn't sound like he watched it, and so they're just going on and on and on like it's inside the NBA. And I'm like, how long is this show going to be on? And then Ernie Johnson looks at the camera and goes, and now our tradition or whatever he said and threw it to one. And I was like, wait a second. They're doing the one shining moment now?
They got to edit it together. You got to add the moments from the tournament game. It just happens.
They've got placeholders in there for the championship game.
It just
They're working on it during the game. You know how this works. You know how TV works. It's all put together. There's placeholders there.
They just... Put in the highlights?
Yes. The final 2 clips.
What, the highlights of the free throws? It's just hitting a free throw for one shining moment.
I'm just saying. So I saw it. It happened. I just want to let you know that they played it once again.
I'm glad that we went another year.
Yes.
With one shining real version?
Yeah.
Luther?
Yeah.
Not the 1 year we strayed from the light and went away from Luther.
It wasn't like Miley Cyrus or Jelly Roll. No, it was.
Could you imagine
how bad that would be?
Oh,
it's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. North Carolina made big news yesterday, hiring Michael Malone as their new head coach. I still don't get it, and it sounds like to me that they got their 4th option. Is that a problem? We'll talk about that coming up next.
North Carolina has hired former Nuggets coach Michael Malone. For the first time in 70 years, the Tar Heels go outside the Carolina family to reset one of college basketball's most powerful brands. Will it prove to be the right move? Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
You know, a day later, it still feels like a lot of what went into North Carolina's decision to hire Michael Malone was a timing situation, right? Like the way this kind of worked out is that North Carolina was told no by two head coaches in college basketball, one that just won the national title last night, Dusty May, and the other, Tommy Lloyd, gets a new deal from Arizona. They are the top two candidates. They're the two names that we heard the entire time that we were kind of following this story at Chapel Hill with a new head coach for the college basketball team. And then there's also like a side story that behind the scenes, through back channeling, North Carolina made it be known to Billy Donovan, who's coaching the Chicago Bulls, that they wanted to hire him. And behind the scenes, from what we've been led to believe, is that Billy Donovan wants to stay in the NBA. Although that may change based on a meeting that Billy Donovan will have with the Bulls ownership on Monday, because the NBA season ends this weekend. And so the meeting for Donovan with the Bulls isn't until the end of the season. So it put North Carolina in a weird spot because they need a coach because the transfer portal opened last night.
Yeah.
So you have to have someone because players are jumping into the portal. It's like over 1,000 players entered the portal last night for college basketball.
Yeah.
So it's open season. Everyone's in the portal, and if you're a team like North Carolina, you need to be ready to pounce, and you got to have something to sell a player to convince them to come to your school. Saying that we're conducting a coaching search is not going to get that done. You need someone. You need like a figurehead to go out there and to recruit these players.
Mm-hmm.
So it put North Carolina in a weird spot, and by my count, that's your top three names. Essentially told you no, right? Tommy Lloyd would rather be at Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Dusty May just won a championship last night, said he wasn't going to pursue other gigs. He's got a title. They're celebrating in Ann Arbor, and they are likely to be good again next season.
Yep.
He's going to build something at Michigan. Makes total sense. Love it. I love it. I love that these coaches are staying. That's good for college basketball. And the Billy Donovan thing, we'll address the Bulls situation in a couple moments, but it was a timing situation that North Carolina had to find someone to hire, and they had to do it yesterday. They settle for Michael Malone, former NBA champ with the Nuggets. He's been out of basketball for a year or so. He's on TV right now with ESPN television. I think he's actually really good on TV. He's taking the gig. I think this is not going to work out well for North Carolina in the long run.
Well, and there might be more names. I don't know if this is the next logical names on the list or this is ESPN reporting this, but in an article about the whole thing and how this went down, it says that Chicago Bulls coach Billy Donovan appeared to be next on the list, but he informed all parties he would not want to leave until at least the end of the NBA season, which we talked about in the transfer portal opening on Tuesday morning. It wasn't viable for North Carolina to wait. Iowa's Ben McCollum and Baylor's Scott Drew were the next college names on the list, but the Tar Heels pulled a stunner and opted for Malone.
Now, McCollum, that would not have gotten it done. Drew has won a title in the past, and Josh Graham told us last week at the Final Four to watch out for that name. So clearly that was a name that people in North Carolina were talking about.
I think the idea with McCollum is look what he did with Iowa in such a short period of time. And that if you gave him the NIL fund that North Carolina had and the players that everybody else has, that the Blue Bloods have, what could he do with those players?
He's the one that during the tournament had all the facial expressions during timeouts, right?
Yeah.
With his team.
Yes.
He like when a play would go poorly, they would come over for the timeout and he would do like little theatrics with the players, right? Bald guy?
Yeah, and I think
little bald guy?
Yes, and I think that McCollum's a good coach, and I think he'll be, if your team doesn't have like an in-family
The dive
name,
version of Dan Hurley?
yeah, he'll be the guy, he'll be the next guy, right? Like if another job opens up and your team isn't going to go for like the in the family, like how North Carolina went to Hubert Davis first, and obviously that didn't work, and now they're going with Michael Malone. I think that
right.
McCollum is going to be at the top of everyone's list moving forward, because the thought is going to be what I just said. If he was at a better program with more NIL capabilities and had better players, think of what he could do with what he just did with Iowa. So I don't think McCollum's going anywhere. And like you said, Scott Drew makes sense. He's won before. So this is... Was Malone their fourth option, or was he actually their sixth option or something like that?
He was the guy that didn't have a job.
Yeah.
So they knew if they offered it to him, he would just say yes.
Well, and he's been kicking around the school because his daughter plays volleyball there. And so he's been around. You know what I mean? Like if you're on TV wearing a North Carolina sweatshirt, that screenshot's going around of him talking, on as a talking head on ESPN wearing a North Carolina sweatshirt. Your daughter goes there. You're familiar. Like, you're in the back. You're like, hey, coach, do you want to coach here? Like, permanent? You want to just stay here and hang out and coach permanently? And it's like, yeah, okay, I guess I will, because it seems like everybody they wanted said no. Like, I don't think Tommy Lloyd used them for leverage. I think he just got what he wanted from Arizona. They either matched the salary or gave him more what North Carolina said, and he stayed. Dusty May has a chance to build a great program at Michigan once again, and has a chance to go back-to-back next year, or pull what Dan Hurley's done and win 3 out of 4, or go to 3 out of 4 Final Fours. Like, he has that legitimate chance. With Billy Donovan, reports that everyone else is saying now is that he doesn't want to leave the NBA. He just doesn't want to.
Right.
So whether it's getting a bump up in Chicago and being a front office, a president of basketball operations like Brad Stevens is with the Boston Celtics, or coaching in a different location that's not the Chicago Bulls, whatever job opens up, North Carolina didn't want to wait, because today you have to start making phone calls and you got to start recruiting kids to your program, because the transfer portal is now open.
You can always join the show. You can call or text us at 310-840-4910. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We go to Mr. Positive in Chicago. You're on with Bleck Abdalla. What's up?
No, I'm from Michigan.
Oh.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Positive.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Chris and Adam. And real quick, Chris, thank you for the kind words that you told Josh Graham. I heard about him, and I was very honored, and it made me feel very good.
This is Mr. Positive, who calls in to Josh Graham at night here on Westwood One Sports.
I love Mr. Positive.
Thank you, guys. Yes. Great analysis, commentary about the game last night. You were spot on. We were out-rebounded. The three-pointer wasn't there. The percentage of the shots wasn't there, but yet our grit took us to the promised land, and it was fantastic. And it was a nail-biter when they got within 4 points. I was a little bit nervous, but we prevailed, and, that's what it's all about, you guys. Going for your dreams, living on the edge and taking chances. And have a great day, you guys, and thanks for taking my call.
No problem. Call again, all right? Have a great day. We appreciate it. From Michigan.
Not just when Michigan wins. Yeah, call us all the time, Mr. I love Mr. Positive.
I'm pretty sure, I've heard the boom shaklakas from him before to Josh.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard in the past.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Positive. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. You can call or text us at 310-840-4910. So yesterday, the Chicago Bulls did something that they don't traditionally do. They fired people before the season ended. So what happened yesterday is ownership wiped out the front office. Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley were both fired yesterday. And now it sets up a conversation by reports from the Chicago Sun-Times that Billy Donovan will meet with owner Michael Reinsdorf on Monday to discuss his future. And the reports are suggesting that the Bulls will do whatever they can in their power to keep Billy Donovan with the Chicago Bulls. And that plays into the conversation about North Carolina making their decision. Will the Bulls offer Billy Donovan the choice to run the team, to be the VP, to be the GM, to hire his own coach? Or will they ask him to be a part of the process in finding a GM and a VP, which is a weird structural thing to do in your front office if the coach is also a part of the process of firing or looking to hire whoever would be those people to be the VP or GM of the team. And so when we look at all this conversation, there are some names who are starting to pop. Usai Majiri is out there available. There's a report that Luol Deng has been close to the franchise in the past, has been around the team this season, suggesting to ownership that perhaps Usai Majiri should come in as the VP and Luol Deng would be the GM of the team. Kyle Korver, no, seriously, that's out there. That's a report that's out there.
The guy they almost killed?
Well, yeah, but Luol's always around. Yeah.
No, we don't have enough time to go to the, do yourself a Google.
Yeah.
Luol Deng spinal tap. It did not go well for Luol Deng and the Chicago Bulls.
The Bulls botched a spinal tap, and we almost lost Luol because of it. So that's one. A former player who's in the front office with the Hawks, Kyle Korver, is a name that's being floated as well. Matt Lloyd is a name who spent time with the Chicago Bulls for many years. He went on to Orlando and now is in Minneapolis with the Timberwolves. That's a name that's out there. And then there's some like pie in the sky names like Bob Myers, who's not working right now. Would he want to get back into it? So that's the situation in Chicago, is that essentially we're now waiting for the end of the season for Billy Donovan to decide with ownership on his role moving forward. They want to keep him. Does he want to stay in Chicago? Does he want a bigger role? Does he want to maybe go elsewhere in the NBA? And that's where there's some teams that maybe in the next 2 weeks, as the season ends in the NBA, to keep your eyes on. Orlando, New York. There's some teams out there, and I know Knicks fans are like, wait, what are you talking about, New York? We're going to go deep in the playoffs. All right, we'll see.
Are you?
We'll see. So I think that's the latest with Billy Donovan and the Chicago Bulls from the last 24 hours.
I think you either have to let Billy walk or give him a front office job. And I know it worked with Brad Stevens, but what has Billy Donovan done to warrant him being handed the keys to the franchise? Does he, like, if you just went and said, I'm going to give Bob Myers an offer he can't refuse, right? And we're going to sell him on, build this into a championship franchise again. This is basically turned into, you haven't done anything since Michael left. So if you can turn this team into a winner again since Michael Jordan left, like, you will be, you and I broadcast out of the city of Chicago. We know how much this city loves the Bulls. If you can turn this team into a winner again, like the way it was before Derrick Rose got hurt and got injured, then you are king around here. So if you can do that and sell Bob Myers on that, what do you need Billy Donovan for? I'm not saying he's not going to be good. I'm just playing devil's advocate here and saying, and if I'm Billy Donovan, I'm not sticking around to be someone else's coach, because there's no guarantee that this GM is being told you have to keep Billy Donovan for a little bit, and if it doesn't work out, then you can fire him. I want to leave because I know I'm well respected enough in the NBA that, like you said, if the Knicks job's available, I'm going to get a phone call. If the Magic's job's available, he's coached in Florida before. Like, he can go back to Florida and coach in Orlando. So I think that there's a lot of moving pieces here, but it's all the timing of the Michael Malone announcement with North Carolina and the timing of the Bulls firing their front office of the GM and the president of basketball operations is a little too close to not tie the two together. It's just they're within like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
If that.
I think the domino of Billy Donovan letting people know that he wanted to stay in the NBA, I think that domino fell, and then North Carolina reacted.
And then the Bulls saying, we want to keep you around in some role.
Yeah.
And he was like, not with these two.
Yeah.
And
I think it's all connected.
The axe came.
Bleck Abdalla, sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. There's a new mock draft out on NFL.com, and it has Ty Simpson being selected in the top 20. We'll tell you where he landed in this mock coming up next.
Michigan wins its first title since 1989. The Wolverines are on top of the college basketball world. A moment 37 years in the making. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
All right, there's a new mock draft from Chad Ryder on NFL.com. He has Ty Simpson going 16th overall in the first round. Now, obviously, that's the player that we're all kind of looking at. The draft's just a couple of weeks away at the end of April here. Thursday, April 23rd. We'll have coverage here on Westwood One Sports. All of our shows will be broadcasting. Bleck Abdalla. We will be in Pittsburgh for the NFL draft. We will also be backstage for the first round of the NFL draft, talking to the players after they are selected. So will we talk to Ty Simpson on the night of the first round, Abdalla? That's a big question that we'll look at. Here's another mock draft suggesting at 16, the Jets would take Ty Simpson with the 16th overall pick in the first round.
So to answer your first question, I don't think he would go, because you don't want to be the guy they keep showing in the back. He's fallen. He's still there. He's falling. If Ty Simpson goes to, will we be talking to Ty Simpson if he goes in the first round? I don't think he's going to go in the first.
I think he'll be there. I think the NFL is making a push to get as many players there as possible.
Yeah, they can push a lot of things.
So you think that Ty Simpson's just not going to go?
Yeah. I don't think he's gonna this would be I'm gonna be surrounded by my friends and family, because I don't know if I'm a first, second, or third round quarterback unless I'm getting a guarantee from a team, like the Jets, that say, hey, we're taking you at 16. Go to the draft.
Well, it's a split right now. We are seeing both. We are seeing mock draft suggest that he will go with the 33rd pick or the 34th pick, which are the first two picks of the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Or we are seeing mocks saying 16 to the Jets, maybe that Steelers pick in the first round. That those are the landing spots for Ty Simpson. So we are seeing both. It's not a confirm that he's not going to be a first round draft pick. Pittsburgh's sitting at 21. You have the Jets sitting at 16.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some options. I mean, there's always the wild card in Cleveland. Who knows what they're doing? Maybe they could toss another quarterback into the mix.
Why not?
They're sitting at 24 at the end of the first round. So I have a feeling, based on that, teams get desperate. So even though I don't think that he is worthy of being a first round selection, some team will get desperate and they will take him.
Yeah, if I were a betting man, and I am on DraftKings, I would say that I would bet that this is a team moving back into the first round or trading down. I don't think he gets selected with someone's pick. Does that make sense? I don't think the Jets pick him at 16. I think the Jets maybe trade back and move further down and try to acquire more draft picks in the second or third round or whatever it is to take another team to move up, and then they draft him later, because 16 just seems too high. Unless someone else is coming up for Ty Simpson and you have to get him there. But again, you're the Jets. I don't think you need a quarterback this draft. You're supposed to be bad. You're going to be bad this year. You're in the sweepstake, the March for Arch, the whatever for Dante Moore that we're doing. And I think that drafting Ty Simpson, yes, it's a flyer, and if it works out, sure, maybe you don't need a quarterback. But what are you doing with Geno Smith this year? Is this the Kirk Cousins plan, where Geno Smith is going to start for 5 or 6 weeks, and then Ty Simpson's going to come in? Is this going to be a competition? And if Ty Simpson wins, he's going to be the starter week 1? I don't know what the Jets' plan is. I would still be building up defense, offensive line. I know this is in this mock draft, it says there's sufficient depth at receiver and cornerback in this class, and that team could address both early in the second round. Okay, or you can get a better one at 16. Depth is cool in the second and third round, or you could get a stud day one starter that is going to change your team at 16. And that's what I would do, rather than taking a flyer on a guy that everybody else has going in the second round or late in the first. That's what I would do.
On the mock draft on NFL.com, so Mendoza goes 1 to the Raiders. New York Jets take number 2, Arvell Reese, the edge rusher from Ohio State. Number 3, the Cardinals go with Francis Mauigoa, the offensive tackle from Miami. Number 4, the Titans take David Bailey, Texas Tech edge rusher. That would be a smart pick. Love that.
Yeah.
And then the Giants at number 5 would take Jeremiah Love, the running back from Notre Dame. So I thought that we were going to have some smart mocking going on here, Abdalla. maybe not have Jeremiah Love so high. Nothing against the player personally. It's just if you're the Giants or the Titans, I think you can add to your team in a more valuable situation drafting other players, especially on the defensive line.
If the Giants take Jeremiah Love, does Cam Scatavo try to run through the wall at the draft to tackle him before he hugs Roger Goodell to make it, he thinks it's unofficial if the hug doesn't take place because he's taking his job essentially? Like that's what, like it's a definite upgrade at running back for the Giants. But at the same time, you already have a running, he can't stay healthy, but you have a running back. I'm with you. I would beef up the offensive line. I would beef up the defensive line. There's so many other players that you could take there at 5 or at 4 that I wouldn't be taking Jeremiah Love there. But if he's going to be an impactful player and you think he's going to change your team, you want to take pressure off your young quarterback, then by all means, if that's whether it's the Titans, whether it's the Giants, it seems like Jeremiah Love is going to be a top 5 player, and good for him. If you can project yourself as a top 5 player, that's great. Good for you. Mission accomplished.
Bleck Abdalla, we will be live at the draft in Pittsburgh, April 23rd for the first round, and we will be broadcasting our show both Thursday and Friday of the first round, and then Friday of the second round of the NFL draft live from Pittsburgh. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We will update the latest with Michigan winning the national title in just a few minutes. But I saw this, Abdalla. I wanted to get your opinion on this story I saw in the Washington Post. He who smelt it, finish the phrase.
Dealt it.
Yes. So there was a study done with scientists on comparing the Raj Sharon in Parts Unknown in Colorado. Can we say fart on the air? Is that something
you can
we
say
can
that.
We can say that.
You can say
Okay.
fart?
All right.
You
So
can say that.
they were comparing.
Now, to be clear, you cannot say you cannot do that on someone. Okay, you can't.
No, we're not.
Do a bodily function on someone.
I don't know what the
Can't do that.
scientists are doing with their money.
No.
All
We're
right.
not
I
doing
don't know
that.
what the scientists
I
are
still
doing.
have my
We're not doing
FCC book. I know the rules.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a study done comparing gas by gender. All right. So who smelt it usually deals it, right?
Dealt it, yes.
Okay. Here's what the study has concluded. Women,
Hey, yo.
their gas, or as the sentence says in the Washington Post,
Flatulence?
women's farts have a much greater odor and intensity, the study finds. But men produce larger volumes of gas per,
Fart?
it says toot.
Okay, per toot? I can see that. I understand
so they're
that.
saying
I
that there
understand
is
that.
not a winner of this argument because we both, men and women, have our faults.
Yes.
Men, there's more volume and there's more to it.
Yes.
And women, yours smells worse and there's a higher intensity.
I can
whatever
understand.
that means.
I understand it. I can completely understand it because I feel like we just do it like whenever we have to.
It just happens.
It just happens. Women will keep it in, and that means it percolates. It percolates. It festers like a cheese, like a stinky cheese.
no.
And that's why it's called cutting the cheese, Chris.
Yes.
And then when they cut said cheese, that cheese is extra stinky because it's been percolating and it's been fermenting, like a
fermenting,
wine,
yes. Yeah,
like a stinky wine.
Well, if you are a lady listening to the Bleck Abdalla show at 310-840-4910, you can call or text Adam Abdalla for talking about your, what did you say? It's percolating?
Percolating.
It's
fermenting.
Fermenting as you're storing and you're building it up to then unleash on all of us.
Exactly.
And then come on, we all know the bit. You then blame the dog.
Yeah.
It's not the dog.
I blame my daughter.
Michigan won the NCAA tournament. We'll talk about it coming up next.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Welcome in to Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM Channel 375, and all of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla, broadcasting live until 3 Eastern right here on Westwood One Sports. You can call or text us at 310-840-4910. Michigan wins the national title last night, Abdalla. It was a good game. A lower scoring game, a game that UConn had to try and play to keep Michigan within reach to try and win at the end. It's just Michigan was too good at the end, hitting free throws, getting big blocks, getting the rebounds, and also hitting shots when they were needed. UConn just couldn't quite get over the top last night as Dusty May and Michigan celebrated a national title the first time since 1989.
UConn tried to muddy the game. They did. It was a low-scoring game. In the 60s, obviously Michigan wins 69-63. If I would have told you that was the final score, that's a UConn game. That is how UConn has won games this year. That's how they've been winning games in the tournament against these tougher opponents. And Michigan played down to that level, not level of basketball, but played in that physical style of game. The last few games we've seen from Michigan in this tournament, they put up over 90 points a game. This is a team that had 12 wins of over 30 points or more from their opponents in the regular season. So it's not surprising that Michigan can just morph into whatever they need to be to find a way to win this game. And they only scored 2 3-pointers the entire game. You had UConn hitting 9 3-pointers, so they were outshot there. They were out-rebounded. Basically, UConn was set up to win this game the way this game played out.
Yeah,
but Michigan was just so much better. They proved it throughout the entire regular season. They proved it in the NCAA tournament, and they proved it definitely on Saturday night against Arizona when they just demolished the other number 1 seed that was left in Arizona. And didn't think it would be this kind of game, and if it did, I thought it would go to UConn, but obviously Michigan is just that much better, a deserved champion, the best team in the tournament, and the best team won the national championship last night.
This is what it sounded like right here on Westwood One Sports as Michigan beat UConn.
And since 1989, there's been a blank space in the Michigan trophy case. Will write their name, Michigan, the 2026 men's basketball national champions. They knock off UConn 69-63 to win the school's second men's basketball championship.
Elliot Cadeau led the Wolverines last night with 19 points, as you heard Kevin Kugler on the call on Westwood One Sports. And the guys did a great job broadcasting the Final Four and also the entire tournament here at Westwood One Sports. It was fantastic to listen to. And so Cadeau, 19 points. He went 5 of 11 from the field. He went 8 of 9 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, the most outstanding player in the tournament as Michigan wins it. And the style that they won is not what is representative of the way they just ran through this tournament. I mean, Michigan scoring the 90-plus points in 5 straight tournament games, which set a record. The 20-point wins, I think the closest game besides last night, which was a 6-point advantage for Michigan, was like 15 points. Everything else was a 20-point blowout to get to this point. One of the more dominating performances we've seen from a team in college basketball history. 37-3, the Michigan Wolverines run through the tournament, and they win the national title.
Yeah, and I think that they did it because of the way Dusty May has put this together. When we were talking about the national championship in football and Indiana and Kurt Signetti coming in and turning this around in just 2 years, Indiana obviously well far off from what Michigan is as a basketball program, but Dusty May comes in 2 years and wins a national championship. That's how you can do it now. All these other coaches that are incoming head coaches don't have an excuse. Guess what, Michael Malone, who just took over North Carolina? If Dusty May can do it at Michigan and can recruit through the transfer portal and get guys in here and win a championship in 2 years, you got to bring North Carolina back real quick, because everybody's going to be pointing to how Kurt Cignetti did it in football in 2 years with the transfer portal and with NIL, and everybody's going to be pointing to how Dusty May did it at Michigan in 2 years with the transfer portal and NIL. And like they were out, like we talked about, they were out rebounded. Their shooting percentage was lower than UConn. The only differential was that went in their favor was free throws. And that came down to it at the end of the game when UConn couldn't hit their threes and Michigan was getting to the line. They hit clutch free throws. They were hitting clutch shots and UConn just couldn't answer. They tried to make a run. It got close, but Michigan just proves again why throughout this tournament, they had an easier path than a lot of teams. Because of the way some other games went, their biggest test was going to be against Arizona. They blew them out. And then yesterday actually proved to be their toughest test. And it's against who I still consider, even though the result yesterday, still consider the best college coach going right now is Dan Hurley. He's the guy that tested Michigan the most, and they were still able to come out with a win.
Let's hear from Dusty May post-game talking about how the game got physical in the second half.
Early in the second half, the game got a little bit chippy and physical, and so we thought this is going to be a game we just have to figure it out. We started going offensive, defensive early, offensive, decent substitutions early, and UConn was dominating us on the glass. Credit to them; they were as motivated and determined as any team we played on the offensive glass, but we did feel like we were defending well enough that we were going to be able to find enough baskets.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. The way to find the baskets, get to the foul line. Last night, Michigan got to the line 28 times. They made 25 of those free throws, 89%, where UConn only attempted 16 free throws last night. They made 12. That's the difference. That's a 13-point swing just in the advantage of the free throws. So it negates the fact that UConn hit more threes. It negates the fact that they had more rebounds and they shot a better percentage. So when you look at overall, Michigan found a way. And the way that they get this championship, and now it's the first championship in the Big Ten since Mateen Cleaves and Michigan State with Tom Izzo, their first one. So, you have to go way back for the Big Ten to win in NCAA tournament. And Abdalla, when we look at that, so we get Michigan winning, you get UCLA winning the women's bracket, you get Indiana winning national championship in college football. Is the SEC okay? The great big bad wolf on the block, the SEC, are they okay with the Big Ten winning all of these championships? What's happening there with the SEC?
I mean, what is there to? It's basketball season. It's ACC.
No,
I
said the women's championship goes to the Big Ten. Yeah, and I said Indiana football wins the national title in college football.
The women's championship should not count for the Big Ten. That's UCLA is not.
Are they not in the Big Ten? Are they not a Big Ten school?
Yeah, I would love to see Iowa fans and Nebraska fans claim UCLA when they only claim it when it counts. But then teams complain about flying out there, and UCLA complains about flying all over the place in football season. But then when it counts for national championships, the Big Ten, the Big Ten, the Big Ten. You're not in the Big Ten.
Well, to be factually correct.
When they do that cartoon little map and they have to go all the way out west for UCLA and USC, ridiculous. And they have to go all the way out east.
Are you talking about the ad on TV?
Yes. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. If there's no corn in your state, there might be corn in California. I'm not sure. If there's no corn in your state, you shouldn't be allowed in the Big Ten. Get out of here.
I don't think so.
I don't think there is either, but I don't want to be mistaken.
I think everything else is in California.
Yeah, but not corn.
I'm saying if you want any other produce, like that's the state.
Yeah.
That will give you fresh produce for the rest of the country. I don't know corn.
UCLA is going to have like a little patch of 1 acre of corn now, just
question.
to say that
I don't know. Yeah. I could definitely guarantee you that folks in California don't get the corn sweat though, which is a thing.
Oh my God!
And I don't know if people realize this, but in the hot summer months in the Midwest, the corn itself sweats.
Yeah,
and that moisture goes into the atmosphere and it creates a humid kind of haze. And it's because of the corn. Sweating.
Nobody
that you
wants
have to
that.
live through.
Nobody wants that.
Well, here in Chicago, we deal with that every
if you
once in a
don't
while. When
deal
it gets
with
really
it-
bad, you get the corn sweats.
If you don't have to deal with it, guess that. Guess what? You're not in the Big Ten. Sorry. So football and men's basketball, congratulations on your Big Ten championships.
Raj Sharon in parts unknown in Colorado. Thoughts on corn?
California, fellas, the number 2 state in the entire country when it comes to corn production.
See, they got everything.
They got corn?
They're number one for everything with production.
Is it real corn?
Yes, it's what is real corn to you?
I like
what's
corn.
fake
I'm just
corn?
saying. Are we sure we're not counting the band Corn because they're from Bakersfield, California?
Well, they are. They are absolutely.
Are we
from
sure that
California.
we're not counting the band Corn when it comes
specifically
to corn
known
production?
for their sweet corn, Abdalla. California
sweet corn. Well, the boys in corn are sweet. Jonathan Davis is a sweet boy.
Look,
That's deep. I'm
Yeah, no, I
sorry.
look it up. California is like number one for every single produce.
I know. Well, because there's no winter.
Yeah,
There's nothing happens there.
Sure, they got it all.
Nothing happens.
If you want fresh produce, boom,
Okay.
California. You
All
want
right.
potato, go to Idaho.
Wow, yeah.
Everything else, California.
That's fair.
I'm glad we settled that.
By the way,
here on the show
Nebraska,
today.
not number 1. It's Iowa.
Yeah, Iowa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Learning all about
Yeah.
corn here, guys.
yeah. And do me a favor, Raj. Type in corn sweat.
Hot.
You'll have Weather Channel articles and all kinds of stuff talking about the corn sweat. It's real. I can hear.
I also
him
got
Googling.
the actor who plays Superman now, who is David Corn Sweat,
Okay.
when I just Googled.
That's unreal. Sir, see yourself out.
We need like the sound, the old AOL sound
of the door
of the door
closing.
closing. Whenever Raj comes on, it's got to be the and then when he leaves, it's got to be
I mean,
of
my
your
God,
buddy
we just
leaving
dated
AOL
ourselves as
Instant
elder
Messenger.
millennials right there, bringing up AIM sound effects.
Wow. All right, thank you for the detour down the corn trail here on Bleck and Abdalla, your number one show across the country for corn. Not the musical group, but
No,
facts
I mean,
on corn.
they put on a great show. I
Oh, I know.
love corn.
I stand by that. Seeing Corn live, they're the best act I've ever seen perform live.
Woo!
I saw them like way long ago, like early 2000s.
Yeah.
I saw them, and they were at it was a Project Revolution tour with Limp Bizkit and with who else was there? I think it was Linkin Park
Oh, that's a show.
and Snoop Dogg.
That's a show.
Snoop Dogg was like the intermission to the yeah, it was weird. It was a weird combination. But then like the headliner at the time, because Linkin Park was like in their apex.
Yeah.
They were the band, right?
Yeah.
And so they were the headliner, and Korn was the second to last band to play. And after Korn was off the stage, it was like, like the moment Linkin Park came out and they started doing their little scream stuff and like
Little scream
well,
stuff.
no, I mean it's good, but like when you just saw Korn melt your face off,
Yeah.
for an hour and a half straight, and then
Yeah.
Korn comes out, and Linkin Park comes out, and they don't really sound like their records.
Yeah.
You know, like where Korn sounds exactly like their record. It's just different. And it was
Yes.
like, I think the other guy should have been the headliner.
Did Korn
I think the
specifically
other- I
tour
think-
with Limp Bizkit? Because I also saw Korn on the Family Values tour.
I
It was
think
Korn, Rammstein,
I think there was a lot of that at the time.
Ice Cube, Limp
Yeah.
Bizkit, and a band I don't think I can say on the radio.
Is it of a bunch of people getting together to do stuff?
That's it. That's the band. That's the band. A bunch of people getting together to do stuff.
Getting together to do stuff. What would you call that? It would be the name of this band.
Can't say that name. I don't think I can say that. I can say fart, but I don't think I can say
yeah.
that on a national radio. I don't think our fine affiliates around the country would like it if I said that name on the radio. Sirius XM channel 375, full go.
I don't think you should try. I also don't know if it's necessarily like, I don't think you can. It doesn't. It's a bunch of people getting together in one location
I know
doing
two
stuff.
studios over, they're
No, I
saying
know.
it on the radio.
Yeah, I know.
They play their songs.
Yes. It's a band that was popular in the 90s.
Yeah,
They really had just one song.
basically. And it was a cover.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. It was a cover. All right, I'm glad we covered this. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. You can call or text the show at 310-840-4910. Bradley in Bakersfield has thoughts on corn. Hello, Bradley.
Yes, sir. How you guys doing today?
We're great.
Okay, I'm doing okay. They're working on my cooler. It's Bakersfield, you know. We're going to get hot again.
Yeah, yes,
All
of
right.
course. Bradley, we're listening to ourselves. Turn down your radio, my man.
What do you got on corn, man?
Oh, I'm going to get in the hallway. Let me say, I'm
Adidas guy?
I'm a disabled veteran. I'm moving on my walker here.
Yeah,
Okay,
we got
get
you.
down the
We got
hallway.
you.
Okay, was that
Jonathan Davis thoughts? Go.
The best corn is made in Mexico, man. Mexico's masa, you know, masa.
Okay, yeah.
Get a
For sure.
tortilla somewhere, you know. Okay, the best one is Mexico. Iowa, they don't do nothing.
Thank you, Bradley. Have a great day. There's Bradley in Bakersfield. I'm with Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Bradley just took Abdalla out. That was outstanding.
Oh, that was so good. Oh, they don't know anything in Iowa.
No, they don't.
That's great.
Hey, Abdalla, it's now time for the Defensive Player of the Week, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Looking back at last night's game, Michigan wins the national title. Can we select a Defensive Player of the Week from last night's game?
Either Johnson Jr. or Roddy Gale Jr. Either of those two from Michigan. They both had 2 blocks in yesterday's game.
6 blocks overall for the Wolverines last night. Can we say the Michigan defense?
Let's go with that. Michigan defense, yes.
Brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. When we look at Michigan and we look at some of the past champions, where would we put the Michigan Wolverines in power rankings as far as an all-time great team? We'll talk about that coming up next.
At Augusta, the pines stand tall, the azaleas are in bloom, and history waits with every swing. The Masters begins Thursday, and we're live from Augusta. Hear every moment on the Westwood One Sports app from Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Broadcasting live each day from downtown Chicago. On the show, Raj Sharon produces the show from Colorado, parts unknown. And on Tuesdays, he brings to us Power Rankings. What's up, Raj?
Hey, what's up, Bleck? What's up, Abdalla? So today's Power Rankings categories have to do with current champions. You can choose from current champions in the world of sports. No requirements beyond that. You don't have to use everybody. You can put multiples. It's up to you guys. Are you ready for your first category?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Abdalla, you're up first. The category is all-time great. All-time great. Abdalla?
All-time great. I'm gonna put this Michigan team in there. I don't know if they'll be appreciated in the moment because you see there's a few losses. They didn't go undefeated. There's obviously better teams in college basketball history than this Michigan team that have had bigger stars. We went through them, that have more NBA stars, that have gone undefeated. But I would say all-time great. This Michigan basketball team is up there. And I would say the way Indiana football, if they're currently holding the championship as the title defenders in college football, what a run. The first team to go undefeated through the regular season and in the playoff era with this expanded playoff, so they had to win more games, the turnaround that Kurt Cignetti had. So I'm going to put those two teams, the two Big Ten teams, Michigan and Indiana, and the two college champions in men's sports there. I'm going to put them there.
mean, you know, when we look at the conversation of all-time greats, Raj, Abdalla, like the one thing that I think we all get lost in the sauce with is the last thing we saw is the best and greatest. That's for all of sports talk, everyone on TV,
Recency
every
bias.
talking head. Yeah, and it happens constantly, and I think it tends to happen a little bit more now because we're all on social media as well. And you can't say something that's just mid. You have to say something that's shocking to get attention and clicks and people to watch, right? And so with that comes a shorter attention span. And with that, each and everything that happens, we think is the greatest since the last, right? With that said, I do feel like the last year or so, when we're looking at the champions in most of the professional leagues and then a couple of college champions as well, we've seen a lot of teams that could argue that they're all-time greats. You know, Abdalla covered Michigan basketball last night, Indiana football in the winter. You could argue the run that Signetti and Mendoza had, that was an all-time run. You know, the Dodgers are a team that we've seen now be put together, and maybe last year wasn't their best overall season, but they won the title and they had enough to get there, and they are a team that is trying to win their third in the row. That to me is an all-time team. I would also say what we've seen in the NBA from the Thunder, even though I don't think most of the country likes the Thunder, and they're not even of the aspect of being a villain. Like, I don't think people dislike. I just don't think people think of the Thunder. It's like Ginsburg in the elevator with Don Draper. I don't think people think of the Oklahoma City Thunder. And so the Thunder season last year was an all-time great season that ended up winning a championship. So, Raj, to answer your question, I do think right now there are 4 different teams who are current champions who you could make the argument are some of the all-time greats. Michigan basketball last night, Indiana football. I agree with Abdalla on both of those. The Dodgers and the Thunder. I think that those recent championships, you could put in the conversation of all-time greats. Raj?
All right, Bleck, we're going to keep with you. Next power ranking category amongst current champions. Go ahead and green light the Disney movie. Bleck?
It's got to be Signetti at Indiana, right?
Who are you casting as Signetti in the movie?
Signetti? Okay,
it's,
I got it.
Go ahead.
No, you want to take it.
No, go ahead. It's your question.
No, you go ahead.
No, okay. It's Timothy Chalamet. He plays Mendoza. He plays Signetti. He plays. This is his Nutty Professor, guys. He plays 5 different people on this team, and this is how he finally gets he didn't get the Oscar, obviously, because Michael B. Jordan did. This is how he gets it, by playing a 75-year-old man, by playing a 75-year-old coach, and also the quarterback at the same time.
Is this CGI?
No.
Digitally enhanced?
No, he has to wear a suit.
Just old man?
Because that's how you get it. You have to say, I sat in the chair for 30 hours a day in makeup, even though there aren't 30 hours in a day.
Like the dude who played Frankenstein in this past year, the movie that no one watched, but he sat in the chair for hours.
Congrats to him and the makeup
tall
department.
Guy.
Yeah.
He's a tall guy.
Jacob Elordi.
All the women think is hot.
Jacob Elordi. Yes.
What's his name?
Jacob Elordi.
Frankenstein.
Yes. He's very tall, too.
All right.
Kind of like a Frankenstein
Before
monster.
Abdalla jumped in, I have the perfect casting for Signetti. Ready? Ready? Here we go. Has anyone seen the movie Falling Down starring Michael Douglas?
Yeah.
Michael Douglas in Falling Down. That's Kurt Signetti.
Okay.
That's Kurt Signetti.
He definitely has the look. He definitely has the look.
Yeah. Michael
I'm
Douglas
looking at it right now.
in 1993 in Falling Down.
Yeah.
That's Signetti on the sideline.
Okay.
All
right.
Is it cliche that I would have went with Tom Hanks? But I feel like Tom Hanks could do a good Kurt Signetti.
Tom Hanks is too nice.
He's got too round of a face.
He's too nice. Well, they've got mold and plastics and whatnot.
All right, so a Disney movie. I'm going to go with Indiana football. It was so unlikely that in a short amount of time, Indiana went from one of the losingest programs to national champions. To me, that's the one. That's the Disney movie.
I agree with you. So not to, with everything you said, so to add one to that too, there will be an Ohtani movie at some point.
Oh yeah.
Like
Ohtani,
there will be, like the Dodgers.
Right.
Like you can't do a Dodgers movie.
Yeah,
but there will be.
Is this like a movie, or is this like a Disney Plus original?
No, this is gonna be someone's gonna play Ohtani and get an Oscar nomination for it. This is gonna be
that's a movie.
The next thing. Oh yeah. At some point, not now, obviously. Like they're not gonna greenlight this tomorrow.
Okay.
But at some point, There will be an
can't
Otani
say
movie.
what I
There
was
will be an
thinking.
Otani movie.
All right.
Don't
Continue
say
on.
it. Don't say
I'm
it. All right.
not.
No,
gonna
he's
say
not.
it.
No,
I'm not.
Chalamet's not
Thank
signing
you.
up for
How
that
did you
one.
know the joke that I was going to
Chalamet's not signing
How
up.
did you know what I was joking? How did you know? I wasn't going to say it. How did you know? And now at the dish, Shohei Ohtani. And it's scrawny Chalamet at the plate with a bat. How did you know?
He gained a bunch of weight and grew. He got leg implants to like grow, and that's why he gets the Oscar. And no one's got a problem with it because it's Chalamet. No one cares.
He's
'Cause it's Chalamet.
he's too wispy.
Oh, he's so weak.
He can't do a sports movie.
He would blow away in the Chicago wind.
Raj?
Oh my gosh. All right, next category, guys. It's not really a word. It's a sound effect.
Oh, yeah.
So who do you got, Abdalla?
The Thunder.
That is your
The
power
Thunder.
ranking
It's the
category
Thunder.
amongst current champions.
It's the Thunder. It's the Thunder because they're boring and no one likes them. And it's like, okay, you're gonna win again. Like you just did it. You sighed. Like I don't want to see them win again. I want to see them lose to the Spurs in the Western Conference Finals, and I want to see Wemby and the Spurs in the finals. That's what I want to see. I'm tired of the Thunder. I understand their efficiency. I understand they're great. I get SGA. I understand it all. I don't want to see it.
What about the commercials?
Gone.
With the
Gone.
three players arguing over their wardrobe.
Gone.
Pretty sweet, right?
Gone.
Everyone loves those.
I don't want any of that. So it's definitely the Thunder gets the sigh.
My interpretation of this is a little different, Raj. I'm looking at a team that won the championship, yet this season has been horrendous for them. And they went out and spent a lot of money. And I know we're not going to get lost in the weeds talking Premier League soccer.
It comes.
But Liverpool winning the Premier League last year and then being what they are now, ooh, baby. That's a sigh.
They had to wear it for Klopp.
Congratulations. Yeah, sure. All right. You got your title. Congrats.
Yep.
Hey,
Next
Raj,
category.
Full disclosure. Raj put Liverpool on the list.
You did do
I
this to
did.
yourself.
I
You
did.
put
I
them
did it
on
to
the
You
list,
don't want us to
man.
talk a little soccer.
You put them on the list.
I did it to myself. All right, next category. Dynasty loading. Black dynasty loading.
Yeah, you got to be real about it. It's the Thunder. I don't, and because you're saying loading, the Dodgers are already a dynasty. So I don't categorize that as the same. They've won 2 in a row and they've won multiple. So they're the best team in baseball. They've spent the most for many years in a row here. That's a dynasty. They're a dynasty. I'm going to go Thunder because it's loading. We don't know the answer to this yet. The Thunder may lose to the Spurs. They may lose to the Nuggets. They may lose in the finals to the Celtics. It's possible. They may not get back-to-back. They may not win another title. We all thought at one point when there was an image in the finals of Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant standing on the sideline watching the Miami Heat celebrate a championship, we all assumed that those three would be together forever, winning championships for the Thunder. So just because you get one doesn't mean you're a dynasty. It's still loading. So I'm going to say the Thunder.
I am going to say the last 2 champions that I just mentioned in the first question here were all-time great. Michigan and Indiana. If you look at the odds, they're both, Indiana's the favorite to win it all again this year. Michigan's the second favorite behind Duke to win it all. Duke's choked it away the last couple of years, so I can't trust them. But if Dusty May's building something, if Kurt Cignetti, I think he's the best coach in college football right now. So I don't see why he can't get back to another national championship and try to win back-to-back national championships. It's insanely tough. But I don't see why he can't. I think the Dodgers, I think you got to win one more to be considered the dynasty. If you go 3 in a row, you're obviously a dynasty. Just because you win a lot, they've got 2 champions.
Just because you win a lot.
Yeah, I'll throw the Dodgers in there a little bit, but I'm saying Indiana football and Michigan men's basketball for sure.
All right, Abdalla, let's stay with you because Bleck kind of teased this a little. Our last power ranking category is already a dynasty. Abdalla?
The only one that you can put out of the list that you gave us, the only one are the Dodgers, really? Yeah, because no one else has won 2.
Well, does Raj know my rule for dynasty conversation?
You have to win 3 in a row?
No,
Or
no,
2 in a
no.
row?
Raj, do you know the rule when it comes to dynasties?
Is it 3 and 4? Is that your criteria? At least 3 and 4?
You cannot be a dynasty unless you go back to back.
Which they,
Okay.
End of story.
Yeah.
If you're someone that's just picking off, cherry picking championships through a 7-year run or whatever, like you're very good, you're great, you won the championships, but a true dynasty defends a title at some point, and they go back to back. That's a true dynasty in sports. So the Dodgers are the only ones on the list.
Yeah.
They've gone back to back. They're going for the third. Since 2020, they've won 3. So, yeah, it's the Dodgers.
Wait a minute here. So are the Spurs not a dynasty?
Dude, that's the one I go back at him every single time. Every
they never
single
went back
time,
to back, right?
Every single
They did
time
not.
they
Yeah.
did not. Every
I know
single
what I
time.
said.
Every single time we have this conversation, I say, "What about the Spurs?"
I know what I
and
said.
he's like, "What about
Great.
what? They
They've
didn't
got
win."
Hall of Famers, Hall of Fame coach, multiple Hall of Famers
You're
on the
ridiculous.
team, multiple championships.
That was a
Great
dynasty.
franchise.
Wow.
Great franchise.
That was a dynasty.
How could it be a dynasty when there was a different team in the league at the same time having a dynasty?
They
The
won.
Lakers won 3 in a row during their run.
Okay.
Dynasty.
So were the Spurs.
No.
Okay.
You can only have one dynastic team at a time in a sport.
Not true.
Okay, then it's not a dynasty then. Then we're talking about something different.
Then what are we talking about?
Just multiple champions.
Okay.
See, Raj, I put a lot of thought into
I'm
this
out
one.
on that one. Yeah, I'm
What
out
do you mean
on that
out
one.
on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out on that. I'm with you,
You guys
Abdalla.
are like
I'm with you, Abdalla.
you guys are like the Basketball Hall of Fame. You let anyone in. You gotta set some standards
They
sometimes.
won. No.
How many titles
You
did
gotta
the
have a
Spurs win? Like
standard.
2003, 5, and 7. They won every other year.
Okay.
No one
Congrats.
won 3. No one won 3 in between 2003,
No, but
5,
in
and
that
7.
era, who's the dynastic team in that era?
You can have a 5-year run where you're the dynasty
It
of
was the
5
Lakers.
years.
It was the Lakers.
No.
Shaq, Kobe,
The Spurs
Lakers.
between 2003 and 2007, where they won 3
They were very
out
good.
of 5.
I'm not arguing that they weren't great and they won championships. I know what I said. You got to defend a title to be a dynastic team.
Okay.
To be a dynasty, you have to defend a title.
I don't think I've ever
Otherwise, you're
heard the
just
word
collecting
dynastic,
championships.
and I've heard it 3 times in the last 90 seconds.
Well,
That's really
we're talking about
impressive.
dynasties.
I know it. I've never heard dynastic.
Your
It's
dynasty.
cool. I want to find a way to work that into a sentence later today.
Add it to your
Thanks,
power
guys. That's it
rankings.
for Power Rankings.
That's it.
Good job.
Unreal. Bleck Abdalla, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Save on commercial auto insurance from Progressive. Get a fast quote at progressivecommercial.com. The Spurs, that's your only example. You got anything else there?
No, you're the one that said that they're not a dynasty because they haven't won back-to-back
You give me
championships.
one outlier.
Yeah, 3 out of 5 is a dynasty.
I don't know about
It
that.
is.
I don't know about that.
Okay. You can say that if you want to. I'm gonna say that they.
You can say that if you want to.
So you're gonna say that
Yeah.
also that Alabama wasn't a dynasty when Saban was there.
When? What years?
They won 6 national championships between 2009 and 2020. In 11, 12,
He's the greatest coach ever.
They won 1 back-to-back. So that's it. They're considered a dynasty because they won 1 back-to-back.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
a dynasty?
Yes. If you
Okay.
the challenge of defending the championship is why a team is a dynasty. If you have one on, one off, one on, one off, and you're not ever defending your title, that's not the same. It's true. Just because you're wrong doesn't.
I'm not wrong.
What other team are you Googling that you're going to try and prove my point wrong? Give me another team. That's a dynasty that didn't win back to back.
I'm looking through teams here to find one.
I know you're looking.
You can't tell me that the Spurs weren't a dynasty. You go tell Greg Popovich that.
No, he's a Hall of Fame coach.
You
They
tell
won
him that.
multiple titles.
You tell him that.
It's not a dynasty.
You tell him that.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. You can call or text the show. Tell Abdalla he's wrong about his thoughts on dynasties at 310-840-4910.
In the YouTube chat, youtube.com/@BleckandAbdalla show, they're saying the Blackhawks in the when
Did
their
they
dynasty.
go back to back?
No, but who
I know-
else?
I know
who
what
else
I
was
said.
Who else was as dominant as they were?
I know what I said. How many did the Kings win in that time? They won a couple.
Did they go back to back?
They won a couple.
Did they go back to back?
They did not.
Okay. So who do you think of during that time? You think of the Blackhawks.
Well, but I guess my larger point is that there's not always a dynasty.
That's fair, but
Exactly.
But you can say that if you win 3 out of 5, that's a dynasty.
In your opinion.
In my opinion.
And I understand.
And my opinion is factually correct.
I know what I said, and I know that Blackhawk fans and Spurs fans are going to argue that.
Yeah.
And my response is it's not a dynasty.
Well, you're factually incorrect. It's science.
I don't think that's science.
It is. The burden of proof is on you. The science is in my favor.
All right, there's a new article. Raj, what do you think?
I'm now curious because would you rather your team, let's take the Bulls or one of your teams, Chris, would you rather them win 2 titles in a row and it stops, or 3 and 5?
3 and 5.
No, you win more titles, but
so you'd rather not have the dynasty by your criteria.
So if you only win 2 and then you never win again, are you a dynasty?
Yeah, because,
you're not a dynasty?
Because the argument would be, and I know with the Spurs, there's multiple players who are Hall of Famers who are on multiple teams through that run, but the teams change. It's not the same group. Crickets.
3 and 5 years, it was the same group.
Go look up the rosters. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. There's an article on ESPN.com laying out the turmoil and the chaos going on behind the scenes with the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Well, I think it's pretty obvious. He will not be with the Bucks after this summer. We will talk about that coming up next.
Michigan wins its first title since 1989. The Wolverines are on top of the college basketball world. A moment 37 years in the making. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
See, Bleck and Abdalla, we go back to back. That's why Dynasty here with Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Just not random championships every couple of years, Abdalla. See, we go back to back. We defend our crown. That's what we do here on Bleck and Abdalla. All right, new article up on ESPN.com that caught my attention. Inside the fractured relationship between Giannis and the Bucks. Shams Charania posted this earlier today on ESPN.com. It's a very in-depth and detailed article breaking down everything that's kind of gone wrong with Milwaukee this season, their head coach, Doc Rivers, the relationship with Giannis, his requesting of a trade and then saying that he wants to be there. I think all of this and the takeaway from reading this column on ESPN.com is that this summer, Giannis will again reinforce that he asked for a trade before the trade deadline, and he will force his way out of Milwaukee this summer. He will not be with the Bucks next year.
Is he actually going to admit to it this time, or is he going to say, no, who did I say? I didn't say that. I didn't say I wanted out. Who from my...
Did my people leak this, Shams?
Did my brother say this on a podcast?
Oh,
no? Did anything... No. I'm committed to Milwaukee.
Yeah, because Giannis tried to ride the fence. He tried to do both. He tried to claim that he wants to be in Milwaukee long-term while behind the scenes requesting a trade.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do both.
No.
And what happens in these situations in the NBA is the star will be moved at some point. Like, they're not going to rehab this relationship.
No, absolutely not. And I think that this, like you said, will end in him demanding a trade. And and he took offense to this. There was a quote from one of the owners of the team saying that we will either extend Giannis or trade him. There's no in between. There's no just having this relationship carry on. He's either invested or he's not. And Giannis kind of took offense to that, and that's detailed in this piece. And so now you're right. It seems to be like there is going to be, and from quotes from other players like Bobby Portis and how the team is just kind of going through the motions and all that, the Bucks also seem like it's in their best interest to move on at this point. Because, yes, you will spend a lot of time trying to find the next Giannis, but if the player doesn't want to be there and is giving you multiple times and said multiple times through back channels or whatever that he wants out, just let him go.
Well, there are multiple teams right now in the league playing well at the top of the standings that are built on drafting and developing talent. And if you can get multiple first-round picks back and kind of try and build that way, I could see it being a better path for the Milwaukee Bucks instead of just trying to string along Giannis each and every year. You know, this season the Bucks have gone 17-19 with Giannis in the lineup. Without him, the Bucks are 14-28. Shouldn't be a surprise that they're not good without Giannis. And the quote here in the column that says, quote, "When your best player has 1 foot in, 1 foot out," a team source tells Shams, "you're not going to win," end quote. So, I mean, when you're a player that's not fully committed and you're that guy making that much money and you are a great player in the league, you control so much in that realm to the amount of success the team has. So even if Giannis was healthy, I don't know if this team would be any good to accomplish anything anyway. So it's likely that the best path for Milwaukee is to trade Giannis, get back multiple first-round picks, and start and try and build what like Detroit has built or what the best in the league, Oklahoma City, has built with multiple young players who all come up together.
And it seems like this is the right time to do this. There was talk that this could happen at the trade deadline a few months ago. Obviously, that didn't materialize. Giannis has been injured. They've shut him down. He wants to play. There's that whole thing. But right now, what's in the best interest for both parties is ending this relationship between the Bucks and Giannis. And look, it's not like it didn't deliver. You got a championship out of it.
Yeah, you did.
I would say that this shouldn't be like a Bucks fans should be upset that Giannis wants out or mad that the franchise kind of failed Giannis. Like, you got your championship. He wants to move on, wherever it may be, whether it's New York or Golden State or Miami, wherever teams, all these players end up ending up. I think that right now you have to just say, we got our championship. Let's move on and, like you said, get as many draft picks as possible for Giannis and try to draft well and build the next team that's going to be built to win a championship.
You got your championship and you got 2 MVPs. Giannis is also the type of player that where he lands has to be the right fit because he is a skilled player, one of the best in the league, who has a fatal flaw. In a 7-game series in the playoffs, he is easy to defend because he can't shoot from the outside. So if you can clog the paint and get back on defense and limit his rim running attacks in the paint, you have a chance to stop him defensively. And I think that's what teams in the last couple of years have kind of figured out is that you have to have a lot of shooting around Giannis, and you also have to have the opportunity to have players who are intangible guys. And it's kind of like that's how they won the championship in Milwaukee. They had Drew Holiday. They had guys who could do the intangibles that Giannis can't do, even though he's one of the 5 best players in the league. He has a fatal flaw.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why you're looking at the team now. There's 2 guys that are left over from that championship right now. It's Giannis and Bobby Portis. And the rest of the roster has pretty much changed all the way around. And I know the championship was a while ago, but still, they've tried. The Bucks have tried to build around Giannis, and it just hasn't worked. And whatever his camp wants to say or he wants to say, he's going about it, I think, the wrong way. Because if you just want out, just say you want out. Like, just say you want out. Because it's less of this back and forth. The fans don't have to deal with it. They know where you're going. You're leaving at the end of the year. The Bucks can capitalize on your last few home games, and you can just say, guys, I'm out. End of the year. It's over. I'm gone. Thanks for your time. Here's your ring. See you later.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's the way. And Milwaukee Bucks fans probably feel differently. They're probably in their feels about it. They want to keep Giannis there, but if it's already gotten to this point, you never see this take place where the star stays in the location after they've already made these requests and it turn out well. Yeah. It always leads to the player leaving at some point.
No, absolutely.
And so if you embrace it now and just understand that hopefully your team will be better with more parts and first-round draft picks, then maybe you can start building up again. And so for this summer, we will keep our eyes on Giannis Antetokounmpo and whether or not he will be with the Milwaukee Bucks. And it will be one of the big storylines we follow in the NBA offseason. Michigan won the NCAA tournament last night. We will talk about it and break it down coming up next.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Welcome in to Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, SiriusXM Channel 375, and all of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck, along with Adam Abdalla, broadcasting live from downtown Chicago, on the air until 3 Eastern. You can call or text the show at 310-840-4910 if you want to join the show today. Michigan has won the national title in college basketball. They beat UConn last night 69-63. Dusty May gets a championship. The Wolverines were a team that just flew through this tournament, and it seemed like they didn't have any issues until they got into the first half of last night's game. And UConn was playing good defense. They were hitting baskets, and they were keeping it close and keeping it low scoring, which was the intent from the Huskies last night. Unfortunately for them, they couldn't keep it close enough in the end as Michigan prevailed, and they win the national title, and they were the best team throughout the tournament.
Yeah, it was back and forth till about 3 minutes left in the first half, and you thought, okay, UConn's got a chance in this game. They're keeping it low scoring. They're defending well. Michigan hasn't hit any threes. Like, this is a game that UConn has dialed up in the past to win against Illinois. We saw that in the Final Four. And if, walking in today, 69-63, the Michigan Wolverines win. With this score, I wouldn't have been surprised if UConn had won the game yesterday. But because of Michigan's poor shooting, because of their poor rebounding, their ability to hit their free throws, it's what saved them late in the game because UConn tried to come back. They ended up not being able to. But Michigan, the best team throughout the regular season, the best team in the NCAA tournament, having all those 90-point games until last night. But they still found a way to play a physical game, a different style of game, and they were able to walk away a winner still.
Yeah, Elliot Cadeau was fantastic. He had 19 points in 30 minutes. He went 5 of 11 from the field. He got to the foul line 9 times, made 8 of those, 3 rebounds. He also had 2 steals. He was the most outstanding player for the Michigan Wolverines. As the Michigan Wolverines win their first title since 1989, this is the first championship in the Big Ten in college basketball since Michigan State won it with Mateen Cleaves. So it's been a long time coming for the Big Ten to get a championship here in the NCAA tournament on the men's side of the bracket. And UConn, they had a great run. They make it to the Final Four in 3 out of 4 years. They're a team that almost got the championship. But with Michigan winning last night, it was cool to see, because when you see an offensive team kind of blow out the competition in the tournament, and then they flip it and they play more of a defensive game last night, a suffocating defensive game, where with the 6 blocks on defense, it felt like any time UConn got close to the rim, you had multiple bigs from Michigan there to block, to deflect, to gather rebounds, and it was just nothing came easy for the Huskies last night.
Yeah, and nothing really was coming easy until towards the end for Michigan, except for those free throws. They were out-rebounded. They were outshot field goal percentage-wise. They were outshot 3-point shooting field goal percentage-wise. So, from the jump, UConn was playing like the better team. But when you're a championship-caliber team like Michigan, that's how you find ways to win. And it was getting to the line. It was making your free throws. It was the ability to force yourself to get to the line and playing a physical style of game and getting those calls. And, even though UConn was hitting threes early, they couldn't capitalize on late shots. They couldn't capitalize on what we've seen them in the comeback game against Duke and what we saw against Illinois and how they were able to pull away late in the game. They tried to mount a comeback. They were unable to, and it just proves why Dusty May, this Michigan team, has been the best throughout the season. They had 12 wins of over 30 points or more. This is one of the best teams we've seen in a while in college basketball. I don't know if they're going to be appreciated today for it, but looking into the numbers and digging into how they won this game and their stats throughout the season, like we talked about it a couple hours ago, Chris, they don't have that number 1 guy. They don't have that top 5 draft pick. They don't have a guy that's everybody's looking at and watching. Is going to be one of their players is going to be going in 13th in the draft. Yaxel Lendenborg is around, late top 10, probably top 15 draft picks. So they don't have a guy that we've been talking about, like Darren Peterson or AJ DeBonsa or Cam Boozer. They don't have those guys. They have a really good, solid team of transfers that wasn't there earlier last year, and they come in and they find a way to win a national championship. And Dusty May turns this around in just 2 years. This is only his second year there, and he won a national championship. And he did exactly not the same thing as Curt Cignetti did with Indiana, but at a different level. Michigan's obviously a bigger program. They've been to Final Fours. They had a championship 37 years ago. This is a little different, but still a 2-year turnaround for a Big Ten team winning a championship.
This is what it sounded like last night on Westwood One Sports as Michigan wins the title.
2 seconds with one. He throws it to half court. And since 1989, there's been a blank space in the Michigan Trophy case. Will write their name. Michigan, the 2026 men's basketball national champions. They knock off UConn 69-63 to win the school's second men's basketball championship.
Kevin Kugler on the call right here on Westwood One Sports. Great job by the team with the broadcast, and I enjoyed listening to it both through the Final Four and the championship game last night throughout the entire tournament right here on Westwood One Sports. So, Abdalla, you mentioned, when we look at this team and we try and figure out Michigan basketball, where they fit with some of the all-time greats. Like, obviously in college basketball, you have multiple teams from back in the day that went undefeated. Right. They honored the 1975-76 Indiana Hoosiers last night. They went 32-0. So that team, obviously, it was an undefeated team. UCLA had a few teams back in the 60s and the 70s that were undefeated. 73, 72, 67, 64 for UCLA. North Carolina had a team 32-0 in 1957. San Francisco had a team that was undefeated in 1956. They went 29-0. So obviously, you put those teams to the side. If you're undefeated in college basketball, obviously an all-time great. If we look at the last 25 years or so, some of the great teams and great tournament runs that we've seen to this point, I do agree with you. I don't know if it will have a lasting impact unless Luxembourg goes on and plays really well in the NBA and becomes a superstar and someone we talk about. I don't know if there's that guy on this Michigan team who we will say, looking back, that will be one of those guys that we kind of, Lindenborg might be it because he will be drafted in the top 15 at least. I'm guessing top 10 in the NBA draft. But when we look at overall for Michigan, the wins that they had and the points per game, it's comparison, 1999, the Huskies from UConn, they went 34-2. They were led by Rip Hamilton. So that's a player that went on to great things in the NBA, an NBA champion as well. Duke in 2001, they had Shane Battier, Mike Dunleavy, Jay Will. That team went 35-4. Memorable names, like those are the names. And I think a lot of this might have to do with the one and done or the NIL transfer portal era that we live in. Kentucky in 2012, they went 38-2. They were led by Anthony Davis, absolute star in the NBA when he got there. And then even if you go to 1999, the Duke team, they went 37-2. They lost to UConn and Rip Hamilton in that contest. They were featuring Elton Brand, who went on to be a great player in the NBA. So you're right. I mean, I think when we look at some of these teams, Florida had the back-to-back champions in 06, 07. Joakim Noah was on that team. Corey Brewer was on that team. So you had NBA players on that team with that Billy Donovan coach with the Florida Gators. And time will tell with Dusty May in Michigan as we move forward.
Yeah, and I think that if Dusty May can come back and do this again, get to another Final Four, which they're predicted to do, they're the second favorite right now to win it all again next year and go as back-to-back champions. But we've talked about how Dan Hurley has solidified himself as one of the best, if not the best, current head coaches in the NCAA, going to 3 championships in the last 4 years, going to 3 Final Fours in the last 4 years, winning 2 of them. And right now, if you've got a guy like Dusty May that can go back to another Final Four next year, if he can get 3 out of 4, you're putting him in that same category. Like, he could solidify himself as one of these coaches because the way that they run on the run this year, the way that they went on the run the NCAA tournament, you can't tell me that he's not one of the best coaches in college basketball right now either.
No, absolutely. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. All right, so there we go. The national title game in the books. The women's side, UCLA wins. The men's side, you get Michigan, 2 Big Ten schools winning the national title. Abdalla hates when I do that, but UCLA and USC are in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Same with Oregon and Washington. They're all Big Ten schools now, Abdalla. This is the new landscape of college athletics.
Disgusting.
So we have that. This week, the Masters is starting up. In a couple weeks, on April 23rd, we have the first round of the NFL draft. So a lot going on. You know, the Masters starting up this week, Thursday and Friday, the first round of the Masters, yes. And when you think about the Masters, you think about Jim Nance. Because Jim Nance is in his cabin.
A tradition.
Yes, hello, friends.
Unlike any other.
Friends, we whisper.
A Sunday nap.
We whisper at the Masters.
During the Masters. Can you hear the birds?
And he invites everyone into Butler's cabin.
There's Tommy Fleetwood.
Here, do you want to put on a jacket and sit next to me? Little Johnny, you want to sit on my lap? I'll read you a tale.
Have a pimento cheese sandwich.
Would you like a cheese sandwich in my cabin in the woods?
Gaze at the azaleas.
In my creepy cabin. You can come sit in this cabin with me and put on a green jacket, and we will have cheese sandwiches together. That's the sound of a cheese sandwich, right? That's
no one's ever eaten a cheese sandwich
There's no
with their teeth.
There's no crunch of a cheese sandwich.
You don't need teeth to eat a cheese sandwich. You definitely don't. You can gum that thing.
So Jim Nance, this is his time of year. He celebrates. He says, "Hello, friends.
I'm
welcome to
not as tired because I don't
to my cabin.
do the NCAA tournament anymore.
But this is my time to shine, sitting in this cabin with you.
This is my shining moment."
As we sit here and we put on jackets and we eat cheese sandwiches and we enjoy the Masters with our fake birds. Are you aware of that out there? That the birds that you hear on TV on Masters Sunday, that those are piped in?
That's the original AI.
Those are not real birds.
How about that?
They have bird sound effects on the course to make it sound special for the TV audience.
And guess what? That course is filthy. You just can't see it because all the wrappers are green.
Well, that's smart. That's like
it's littered.
It's like going to Disneyland.
Oh, there are the birds.
And they hide all the trash cans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's smart.
You don't see a bunch of trash cans. You don't see a bunch of
fake
sloppy
birds.
wrappers everywhere because they're all green. They blend in with the grass.
Hand me your wrapper. Enjoy this pimento cheese sandwich.
No phones allowed.
Would you like an egg salad sandwich as well?
You don't.
No crunch with that either. Just
no
a lot of
videotaping. No phones in the cabin. No phones anywhere.
Never. There's never video in the cabin. So the Masters starts up this Thursday and Friday, live from Augusta National. Abdalla, I have here the menu board at Augusta National.
Oh, okay.
Did you know you can order everything on the menu and only spend $78.75?
One of each, please.
One of each at Augusta National.
And get change for your 100.
Because the prices are throwback, like the times.
No phones and coins only for food.
Yeah, yes. You just need a little bag of coins to get your lunch. It reminds us of our childhood.
A sandwich is a quarter.
Because Bleck Abdalla, we are 75 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, here's what the menu board at the Masters, this is what it says. And we will provide Masters updates on Thursday and Friday here on the show. Can't wait. Jim Nance, his cabin, egg sandwich. All right, an egg sandwich, $1.50.
$1.50?
Pimento cheese sandwich.
Hold on, the egg salad sandwich is cheaper than an egg.
One singular egg?
It's cheaper. That's cheaper than an egg in some places.
Pimento cheese sandwich, $1.50.
$1.50.
Pork barbecue, $3.
Whoa. Easy money bags.
The savory tomato pie, $3.
Ew.
The Masters Club, $3.
Okay.
A chicken salad on honey wheat.
Now we're talking.
$3.
Now we're talking.
ham and cheese on rye, $3. And the classic chicken sandwich, $3.
Okay.
Now, they have breakfast sandwiches as well. Service until 10 a.m. Little early, Masters. Little early for your breakfast.
What time do you think time do you think these guys tee off?
A little early. Now,
No.
I don't want to give you a bit that was featured in Big Daddy, the Adam Sandler movie.
It's a little early for breakfast.
But I recently pulled into the breakfast fast food establishment where you think the time is at a certain time. You know the place.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like you pull in. And I pulled into the drive-thru with the intent on ordering breakfast. Okay?
Yeah.
And I pull into the drive-thru and I was a minute and a half early. And I'm waiting behind a car.
Oh,
the car pulls forward and I pull up and I'm sitting there and the person on the mic goes, "Hey, can you wait a second? Hold on."
No.
Yeah, no problem. And I'm sitting there, and you know what happened as I'm sitting there? Because it's all
It
TV
changes.
screens.
Yeah.
It goes black, and then it turns back on,
No.
and it's the lunch menu, and it's telling me about chicken nuggets and whatnot.
And you're like, come on, guys, there's still stuff there, right?
And in my head, I'm thinking to myself, I know how this is gonna go.
Yep.
I'm gonna try and order breakfast now, and he's gonna say it's not gonna be the thing. And I'm going to say, but I was sitting here parked waiting to order.
I was waiting for you.
And you flipped the screen while I got here in time.
You did this to me.
I'm here. So what happens? "Sir, can I take your order?" And I go, "Let me guess. You're not serving breakfast anymore." And he goes, "Nope." He said it like that too. Nope, like he was proud that he's
I'd be
got
so
to
mad,
tell
dude.
me no.
I'd be so mad.
He goes, "But what would you like?"
Nothing.
And my response was,
breakfast.
Nothing. I had to stop for a Coke. I had to get her a Coke. She loves the Coke, crispy Coke there. And I said, "No food, please. Thank you."
Oh.
And I went on my way. I didn't argue. Whatever. I get it.
I've tried.
Them the rules. I understand. But I didn't know that the Masters breakfast stopped at 10. It's a little early.
There's been a place where I've tried to order breakfast for pickup. I'm on my way home and I'm like, I don't want to sit through that. I'll just order pickup.
Yeah, of course.
On my way.
Oh yeah, they'll get you too.
If your order is not going to be ready.
Yep. They'll cancel it.
Before it's over. But I ordered it.
Nope.
But I ordered it.
Nope.
But I ordered it. It is not, breakfast isn't over when I hit order. When I hit place order and do the double click to pay.
Yep. Nope.
It is still breakfast o'clock.
Nope.
But yet when I arrive at the restaurant, it's post breakfast o'clock, so they decline it.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
I know. The rest of the menu board. So this is the breakfast. It stops the service at 10 a.m. You can get coffee, $2. You can get a chicken biscuit for $3. Breakfast sandwich for $3.
Okay.
A blueberry muffin for $2.50. Fresh mixed fruit for $2.50. The beverages on the menu, you got soft drinks, bottled water, you have beer, domestic, import beer, white wine. It's all under $6.
Okay.
So like the beer is a $6 purchase, but like if you want iced tea, it's $2.
Yeah.
Bottled water, $2. And then the snacks, Abdalla, here on the Masters menu board. Apple slices, $1.50. Chips, plain or barbecue, $1.50. The Masters candy bar, $2.25.
What's in that candy bar?
I don't know. Southern cheese straws, whatever that is, $2.50. Cookies, $2. The Georgia pecan caramel popcorn, $2. And then the Georgia peach ice cream sandwich.
That's what I've always wanted to try.
$3.
I'm first in line for that.
Yes.
If I ever get the chance to go to the Masters.
Yes.
Because we've sampled the pimento cheese.
It's good.
It's decent.
Yeah.
It's
all right.
decent.
It's all right.
I want that ice cream sandwich.
Yes. I agree. That looks fantastic. But yes, you can order everything on the menu for $78.
I love that. One of each, please.
Yes. So we will keep our eyes on the Masters as things start up on Thursday and Friday, the first and second round. And
into my cabin.
Tradition unlike
Enjoy.
any other.
If you get here before 10, you
Jim
can have
Nance.
breakfast in my cabin.
Welcome to my cabin.
You
Would
can
you
have
like to put on a jacket?
Breakfast in bed.
Would you like a cheese sandwich?
With Jim Nance.
I'm Jim Nance. In
You
the
go to
Butler
Butler cabin. He answers. He's in his bathrobe. Eating a chicken biscuit for breakfast.
He's got cheese. He's got the pimento cheese on his lip.
Yeah.
Like he needs to wipe it off with a napkin.
Oops, sorry, friends.
Raj, yes. My wife does go to McDonald's every day to get a crispy Coke. That is true.
I just wanted to show you I have recall.
Yes.
I pay attention. I listen to my friends.
Yes.
I want to learn
Yes.
about them.
Yes. She gets a crispy Coke every day. She knows which one has the best. It's something that she does. My wife.
Was that Borat? What voice is Abdalla doing?
All right, we're going to keep it moving. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. You're right. We do need the door to close then. That would be hilarious.
Is that Borat?
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. All right, there's more to the story with Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Jalen Hurts got the message that they were sending out through the media last week? We'll talk about it coming up next.
North Carolina has hired former Nuggets coach Michael Malone. For the first time in 70 years, the Tar Heels go outside the Carolina family to reset one of college basketball's most powerful brands. Will it prove to be the right move? Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
All right, so there's a story out in the Philadelphia Inquirer from last week suggesting that Jalen Hurts got the message that the team was trying to put out. You know, a couple of weeks ago, we had this story. It was essentially like a hit piece on Jalen Hurts calling out his inability to be coachable from the offensive side of the ball in the huddle, just doing his own thing, asking for 4 verts in situations that it clearly would not work. So, like, a lot of stuff that made Jalen Hurts look like a quarterback who doesn't know what he's doing. Like, it made him look like a quarterback who hasn't won at the highest level in the NFL. It's the type of piece you would see for someone that you think is on his way out. And so that story was released. And when we talked about it here on the show, we called it out in the moment saying, like, this reads as a hit piece.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is strictly being put out to make Jalen Hurts look bad. Well, Jeff McClain from the Philadelphia Inquirer posted a couple days ago that sources around Hurts are saying that he got the message. And that's the latest update to the story, is that he knows that this is the last year of guaranteed money. He's gotten the message, and that he needs to play better for the Eagles to commit to him long-term into the future.
Yeah, it was basically said that the Eagles used the media and ESPN and the reporting to get through to Jalen Hurts, because whatever they were doing before wasn't working. And you would think that after not winning a championship and the offense being as stagnant as it was last year, that the message would be clear, but apparently it wasn't. And the thought always was, well, A.J. Brown's the problem. A.J. Brown's the problem. I don't know if maybe A.J. Brown isn't 100% of the problem.
A.J. Brown sitting on the sideline, reading, he's the problem. A.J. Brown arguing with Sirianni, he's the problem.
Well, when your quarterback is calling for routes that they've never practiced before and changing plays left and right to a, quote, concerning level, is what the article said. Like, that's not what winning organizations that are on the same page do. And so you've got a situation here for the Eagles coming up this year where in that division, you know, looking at them this year, they still are favored to win their division, obviously. The Cowboys are going to be better this year than they were last year. The Commanders, assuming Jaden Daniels can stay healthy, are going to be better. The Giants might win a few more games. I don't know if they're going to be competing for a division title, but everyone around the Eagles seems to have gotten better. The Eagles had to get rid of a few pieces this year because of contract issues. They were just up against the cap. And there still is this mystical A.J. Brown trade that may or may not happen before we get to the draft or after the draft, that A.J. Brown might go to the Patriots or another team. And so if you're losing all of this stuff around the Eagles, how else are you going to get better if your quarterback is doing his own thing? Well, you call him out in the media and see if he responds.
Yeah, and I think also that kind of plays into this factor is Philly, even if they don't win the Super Bowl next year, they're going to be good. So they're not going to be in position to say, apply the pressure to Jalen Hurts last year of fully guaranteed money and say, if things don't work out, we'll just draft your replacement. Now, next year's draft class may be loaded from a quarterback standpoint, but the Eagles will not have a top 10 draft pick next season. I feel very confident sitting here in April to suggest that even if the Eagles season doesn't go the way that they hope, they won't be a bottom feeder.
No.
Right? They're not going to finish last in the East. They're going to be a team that's competing for the playoffs. I think they're going to be better than that. But, sometimes you have to look at the full scope and what could happen. I don't think it's realistic to think that the Eagles would be drafting a quarterback next season.
No.
So what do you do at the position if Jalen Hurts doesn't get this message and isn't the guy? You're kind of stuck. You're in this position that we've seen a couple of these teams kind of be held hostage based on Aaron Rodgers and the whim on whether or not he wants to play for the year, or other quarterbacks in other spots that are kind of the older vets who don't know if they can really get it done anymore. And I think that's where it's in the best interest of the Eagles to get the most out of Hurts, and also for Hurts to kind of come correct and become a better player.
Well, there was the report early last year that the Eagles would consider drafting a quarterback to kind of push Jalen Hurts because his completion percentage was down. The offense wasn't humming. There was an entire half of football last year they didn't complete a pass. When was the last time you heard that in an NFL game from a championship level team? And you're right. Like, what do you do if the season doesn't go well? Well, you have one of the best GMs in the game. You keep building. You're going to have one of the better defenses in the NFL. You've got to get some better weapons to put around Jalen Hurts, I would say, if A.J. Brown does leave and you trade A.J. Brown. But the picks you would get back, I would assume that you would use those picks to then draft the next, or try to draft the next A.J. Brown and use those on weapons, because your defense is set. They've spent a lot of capital drafting and signing guys and trading for guys on defense, and now have built up what we've seen and we know is a championship caliber defense. They have to get younger on their offensive line, and they also have to add some weapons around Hurts. And if you do that, Hurts is never going to be a guy that throws for 5,000 yards and you win because he's putting up 50 points a game or 45 points a game. That's not how this is going to go. He's not Matthew Stafford. Jalen Hurts is a guy who's going to not manage the game, because that's seen as a derogatory term now. But Jalen Hurts is a guy that needs a strong defense. He needs good weapons, and he needs a strong running game. And when you've got A.J. Brown, who he's getting him the ball. Jalen Hurts was getting A.J. Brown the football in crunch time during the playoffs last year, and A.J. Brown was flat out dropping the football.
Yeah, that's true.
So you can't tell me that it's all Jalen Hurts.
Well, and I also don't know if, I'm not overly thrilled with Sirianni as a head coach either. So, that's where some of this, to me, feels like cover your own butt type of thing, where if you get it out there that Jalen Hurts is difficult or he's making decisions on his own, it's partially done because you want to get the most out of the player. Mm-hmm. It's also partially put out there so then people know that it's not you that's the problem, because it's easier to fire the head coach than it is to get rid of all the players. So I think there's an element of that to this as well. There's also an article out there on Pro Football Talk talking about how former Tampa Bay linebacker Levante David, he was on, I think he was on the Arena recently talking about Jalen Hurts, and he mentioned that the approach the Bucs had against Jalen Hurts. So in Jalen Hurts' career, he's 57-25 in the regular season. He's 6-4 in the playoffs. Against Tampa Bay, he's 2-4. So Levante David and the Buccaneers defense has had success against Hurts and the Eagles offense. And what he said in this podcast is that they focus on stopping the running game and forcing Hurts and the Eagles to beat them in the passing game. And that the entire concept was, let's make Hurts hurt us. Mm-hmm. And he couldn't. And so, if teams know that Jalen Hurts, if you can limit the run game and you can stop his legs and stop the Eagles' run game overall, he's not going to stand back there and just pick apart your defense. And so when you look at young quarterbacks developing for the future, and he's a guy that when we look at it and we say, he's had a lot of success, But do you fear Jalen Hurts at the end of the game being able to pass and to find his receivers and to have it all work together? And if there is a rift between either Hurts and the other players, Hurts and the coaching staff, like that all goes back to the quarterback. The quarterback's the most important person in the franchise.
No, when are the Eagles at their best? The Eagles are at their best when
they run the football.
When they have the lead and you have the last 7 minutes of the game and they have the ball and their offensive line is bullying you around and Saquon Barkley is picking up 5 or 6 yards of play and they can just milk the clock and lay down to basically and grind it down to nothing and have a long drive, 5-minute drive, 6-minute drive off the game clock and then give you the ball back. And then you have to drive the length of the field. If they don't score, whether it's a field goal, a touchdown, or if they just have to, turn over on downs, if it's deep in enemy territory, and then you have to march the length of the field against that stud defense and you just can't do it. That's when they're good. They're not necessarily good in come from behind games, in games where Jalen Hurts, like you said, has to drive the length of the field and try to pick apart a defense when they can confuse him. And you have to rely on A.J. Brown, who's dropping passes left and right like we saw in the playoffs. So you're right. I think that they're built on their offensive line, which wasn't as good last year because they had a lot of pieces that left that offensive line. Saquon Barkley wasn't as good last year because of that offensive line not being as good. And that kind of ruined the rest of the offense because they're built around their offensive line and their strong running game. And when you don't have that, you have to play catch up a lot, and they weren't able to do it.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Did you see any of the astronauts flying by, the drive-by of the moon last night?
The drive-by mooning?
Well, they went dark.
Yeah.
For about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Then they reappeared.
Dark side of the moon.
Well, they're on the back side.
Yeah, they were on the dark side.
So you're okay that we're driving past the moon? We didn't go to the moon this time?
Yeah, they didn't try to land.
Well, no, this is the first trip that they are making to try and get this back in rotation.
Okay.
They're making the drive now, and then they're going to try and recreate it.
Oh, we're just gonna drive just for the sake of driving?
Well, they wanted to see some things. They were looking at craters and whatnot, looking at the moon.
They got some good pics. I saw that.
Got their eyes on it.
Yeah, they got some good pictures.
Well, why do you hate space?
I don't hate space. It's the one thing that you can't really prove anything.
What do you? There are people there proving that they're there.
If a picture comes out from NASA and they're like, this is a galaxy that we found that's 11 billion miles away, you just have to go, okay. There's no one to discount it. There's no one to be like, you're wrong. I could take a picture of this countertop right now that we are broadcasting from, that I'm hitting aggressively, and I could zoom in and be like, look, a new star. And you'd be like, okay, where's it from? I go, NASA sent it. And you'd be like, oh, that looks like a great new galaxy. And I'd be like, no, dummy, it's just me zooming in on the counter.
You don't respect astronauts and scientists.
I'm just saying it's the one
out there doing this.
It's the one science where there's like there's one organization
farthest that any human has ever flown.
Good for them.
In mankind.
Good for them. I'm just saying that it's the one organization where we just have to be like, okay, sure. Oh, that's a fancy new planet you got there. Look at that galaxy a billion miles away.
It's not just a piece of the desk that they're taking photos
you don't
of.
Know.
It's the moon that's in the sky that you see once a day.
This time. But when they show you a galaxy that's a trillion miles away.
Did you see the diagram on how they had to like pass
I've seen
past
Apollo
the
13.
moon
Yeah.
And then have it whip them back?
I've seen Apollo 13. Yeah. That's how they get back. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Have you seen the movie?
Yeah.
Houston, we have a problem?
I've seen the movie. It's a good movie.
That's literally how they do it.
It's a Ron Howard
slingshot around the moon.
Yeah, I understand.
That's all they did.
No, I know. That's what they're doing.
They just recreated a movie. It's a bad. All this is another Hollywood remake.
You're terrible.
All this is another Hollywood remake. That's what we just watched.
It's a great moment for the space program.
Artemis 2, not as good as Apollo 13.
Well, I hope everything is okay for their trip back.
So do I. Did everybody in Apollo 13 made it back just fine?
Yeah, but it got a little touch and go there for a minute.
But it all went. It all
I guess it did. Yeah, it all goed.
It all goed and touched.
Boy. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. It's pollen season. Yes, it absolutely
Dude,
is.
it is pollen.
Here in Chicago.
It is pollen season.
Spring is sprunging as we all goad, as Abdalla said. Here we go. Pollen season is here, but a dirty car doesn't have to be. Wash it away with Tidal Wave Auto Spa for a quick wash and that clean car happy feeling. Find a location at TidalWaveAutospa.com. It all goad.
It all goad and touched.
Where will Dexter Lawrence land? We have some teams and some possible landing spots for the Giants defensive player coming up next.
Michigan wins its first title since 1989. The Wolverines are on top of the college basketball world. A moment 37 years in the making. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Jim Rome coming up in 14 minutes right here on Westwood One Sports. Check out the podcast on Apple and Spotify. Also, you can like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Bleck and Abdalla Show. Like and subscribe to the show. We live stream each and every day right there from YouTube. Bleck and Abdalla Show on YouTube. Thanks to Raj, Laura, and Roy for producing today's show. Up next on Westwood One Sports, Jim Rome in about 14 minutes right here on Westwood One. We'll be back tomorrow, noon to 3 Eastern, right here on Westwood One Sports. Yesterday, we got news that Dexter Lawrence from the New York Giants is requesting a trade. The defensive tackle and the Giants have tried to come up with a new contract situation, and it seems like there is no budging from the Giants side of things. And so the star player, Dexter Lawrence, has requested a trade from the New York Giants. Abdalla, I've got an article here from NFL.com listing off possible landing destinations for Dexter Lawrence, possible destinations that Lawrence plays for this upcoming season. Number one on the list, number one team where Lawrence will land this offseason, the New York Giants.
Well,
so they work out a deal.
I mean, look,
They keep the player, the disgruntled player who wants a trade.
Listen, John Harbaugh said that prospects are high, that Dexter Lawrence remains with the Giants. I mean, you would think that the best coaching candidate in this cycle would be able to get something done with this player. It wouldn't happen on Mike McCarthy's watch, I'll tell you that.
You're never going to let this go, that I think Harbaugh is a better coach than Mike McCarthy.
I'm just...
All right, continue on with your Giants thoughts.
I think that obviously, if you're going to try to smooth things over with the disgruntled player, money talks.
Of course.
I would also argue, what have you won so far with Dexter Lawrence? And what are you going to win this year with Dexter Lawrence?
Well, they have a really good defensive line.
Okay.
They have all those players who can get after the quarterback. If you can stop the run too, you have a good defense shaping up there. It makes sense. And I think the NFL is the one league where there's disgruntled players in contract situations looking for more money. And then the moment the money comes, they're okay.
Look at Myles Garrett.
There's no issue. And then they're there.
Myles Garrett wanted out, and he was like, oh, no, the most money ever? Okay, I'll take all the money ever, and I'll be fine.
We had a story earlier today about Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's not going to work. In the long run, the Bucks will have to trade Giannis at some point.
Yeah.
But in the NFL, you can make a trade request, eventually get your paper, and then everything's good.
Yeah.
No issues.
Yeah.
Right? Like I feel like that happens in the NFL more than other leagues. Okay, number 2 on the list, the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, the Raiders bring back Max Crosby. Could they kind of shift things around and actually try and put together a decent team this year and not just try and tread water while Kirk Cousins is out there slinging the football waiting for Mendoza to be ready?
I think so. They have the cap space to make this work. They have some draft capital. Obviously, you're not trading number 1 overall, so you're going to be trading probably maybe your second-round pick or whatever it takes. But the best way to support a young quarterback is a good defense, and we know that the Raiders right now on defense, they got Crosby, and that's about it. So if you want to build this defense, go out and trade for Lawrence and make it happen. I would say, why not?
Yeah, the Raiders have 8 picks in this year's draft. The first overall pick. They also have the 4th pick in the second round, number 36 overall. They also have a 3rd rounder, the 3rd pick in the 3rd round, number 67. And they have 3 4th-round picks.
Yeah.
So they do have some capital if the Raiders want to make a move and try and make the trade. Next up on the list, number 3, possible landing spots for Dexter Lawrence. The Bengals at number 3.
So obviously Trey Hendrickson is no longer a Bengal, so you've got needs on that defensive line. He's obviously not playing on the edge, Lawrence is, but they signed Jonathan Allen, so I would say, you could obviously upgrade your defense. The Bengals can upgrade 2 things perpetually, like all the time, their offensive line and their defense. So of course this would be an upgrade, and I'm sure that the Bengals fans would more than welcome it.
Number 4 on the list, the Ravens. They make a big move for Trey Hendrickson. If they also made the move for Dexter Lawrence, that would be a splash. But I don't think that they would have the capital. This is already one of the best teams in football.
And I already think that we say the cap is a myth until it's not. You've already had to restructure Lamar Jackson's deal to fit in Trey Hendrickson's contract. Now, how many other deals are you restructuring to fit in Dexter Lawrence's contract? Like, obviously, you want to make it work. You want to make a run at a championship, but I just don't know if this fits.
Number 5 on the list, the Chicago Bears.
Oh, can't think of a better spot. Can't think of a better place. Can't think of a better spot for Dexter Lawrence than the Chicago Bears. They've got the space. They've got the draft cap. Make it happen. I mean, he should be a Bear yesterday is what should happen. He should have been a Bear yesterday.
I know you're being funny with it, but the Bears do have a gaping hole in the middle of their line.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
And that would make sense. Number 6 on the list, the Los Angeles Chargers.
Ooh, could we see a Harbaugh on Harbaugh trade?
Oh.
A Harbaugh to Harbaugh connection?
So do they have to call through their father?
As like a mediator?
Yeah. Do they have to call home?
I think so. Is there is there another brother that we don't know about?
Beep, bap, boop, 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 bap, boop. They call up and it's mom. Hello. She answers the phone at home, then she passes the phone to dad, and he figures out the trade for the boys.
What an awkward Thanksgiving.
Number 7 on the list, the Texans.
Could you imagine this Texans defense getting any better than they already are?
No, I can't. And
I mean, they could.
They could.
And if you want, look, and we don't know what CJ Stroud is going to be. We don't know how good he's going to be. We don't know how bad he's going to be this year. So if you want to shore up something, shore up that defensive line and make sure your opponents are only scoring 4 points a game.
In Jacksonville, that's last on the list from NFL.com. Landing spots for Dexter Lawrence.
I could see this work. They've got the cap space. It depends on what capital they would have to give up. I don't know if you're going to be trading. You could make it work. So it just depends on how much draft capital this takes. Is this a 1st-round pick? Is this a 1st and a 2nd? Is this 2 firsts? Like, what do the Giants want for Dexter Lawrence? I think that's what matters.
If I had to guess, off of the trade request yesterday and just the way this stuff kind of works, I would guess, my opinion is that Dexter Lawrence will be in a Giants helmet this upcoming season. I don't think he'll actually get moved. I think he's too good, and I think the Giants are looking to ascend. They're not looking to rip apart pieces and get back draft capital. I think he will eventually get his money, and he will be with the Giants this upcoming season.
I agree with you. Usually when these things happen, teams can figure it out. This is placating through agents and whatnot and saying, I want more money. But this is something they've been trying to work on for a couple of years and just haven't been able to. So this isn't something new. This is something that's been rumbling for a while. And maybe it finally came to a head and the team has said, you know what, we're just not going to pay you. And maybe he will end up moving on somewhere.
Potential landing spots for Dexter Lawrence. You can find the article on NFL.com. Abdalla, the other thing I learned today on the show is that you agree with me about dynasties.
I don't. Nope.
You have to win back-to-back for it to be considered a dynasty, and I appreciate you coming around to my side.
You're wrong, and I think you agree with me about space then.
No, it's
fake.
there. Jim Rome and the Jim Rome Show is coming up next.
This is Westwood One Sports.